Welcome to The Show Off, the podcast where we make each other sit down, shut up, and watch episodes of our favorite TV shows and then explain, or be forced to listen to, why it's top-tier television. This show is for anyone who has ever wanted to go on endless tangents about their favorite shows, but their friends and family don't want to hear it. We get it. Ditch those losers and come hang out with us instead. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Campy.
And this is The Show Off.
Previously on the Show Off podcast.
A movie we've talked about watching several times before.
Give me a hint. Just start giving me hints.
Heist.
Okay, a heist. Oh. Oceans.
Yeah, baby. We're going to watch Ocean's 8. I love this movie. It's like one of my guilty pleasure movies. It's just a good, fun time.
Yeah, this is overdue.
This is a long time coming, man. Oh, my God.
I'm my best friend and we've got some shit to shoot. That's the way it is.
Welcome back.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. What's up?
It's been a minute
It's
since
been a
we've
minute.
recorded anything.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
Yes,
it has. We had to take like an unnecessary amount of time off just because life.
Yeah, just because life. Yeah, it happens. But in the meantime, the Show Off podcast is live.
It's finally out there.
It's in the world.
Ah!
You guys should be currently listening to our first Once Upon a Time episode, which
Like,
feels like actually a
literally right
million
now.
years ago.
I know. There was so much going through my head as I was like
Yeah.
getting ready to launch it basically, and I'm like, we started talking about this almost over a year ago?
Well over a year ago by now.
Yeah, and we started actually like drawing up the plans for it almost a year ago, and like it's just been such a long time coming.
Yeah, and then we only started recording in like May?
Yeah.
Something like that. It was like spring, I remember, because we talked about the weather
The
at
spring
one
of
point.
Wisconsin.
So, yeah, here we are. This episode that we'll be doing today is kind of wrapping up our season 1. We are going to have one more episode, which we'll tease you for at the end. But for today, the last episode we did was on Twisters, presented to you by Campy.
What fun that was. We all loved that episode. True classic in the Show Off books.
Along with complete tornado chasing history lesson.
You're welcome.
Yeah. No, it was truly amazing. I learned a lot. I hope you all enjoyed that one as well. And now it's my turn.
And I'm excited because this has also been a long time coming.
Yeah.
That's the theme of this episode, apparently.
Yeah, so we won't beat around the bush too much longer. We're talking about Ocean's 8 today, which, is a movie that I've been trying to get Campy to watch
Since it came out.
Like, I don't know, it's been 6 years since it came out. Yeah.
And for reasons beyond me, I never watched it, even though I love Oceans.
Right.
Like, I've seen the original, and I've watched the
It's classic.
2001 version. Like,
yeah, girl, I
20
think
times.
that's right. I think it came out in 2001.
Jeez, we're old.
Yeah. That was Ocean's 11. This is Ocean's 8. Almost 20 years later from the original, which was also a remake, I believe, of an older film.
Because the original was like 1956, I want to say. It was the Rat Pack.
Yeah.
Sammy Davis Jr., Frank Sinatra,
Classic.
Dean Martin. Yeah.
Cool stuff. That would be fun to watch sometime.
It is. It's a fun movie.
You've seen it? Yeah. Are there a lot of like references, or is it totally different?
There are some similarities
21.
from what I remember. It's been a long time since I watched it.
Yeah. I'd be curious.
Yeah, but there's enough parallels between the two.
Yeah, we have been known to go back and find like the original classic film that inspired XYZ movie. But anyway, we're doing Ocean's 8 today. It is basically the all-female version of an Ocean's heist movie.
And yet still its own thing.
Yeah, I want to talk about with this movie. I think it does a really good job of straddling the line between a remake and an adaptation, almost.
Yeah.
Which is
a remake, an adaptation.
like a
kind
remake,
of a
but also its
sequel.
own thing.
Yes.
Yeah, a remake, but you know what? That's what it is. It's a remake, but also it's a sequel.
Yeah, and it's the same. I don't know, because Hollywood is like remaking so many things and revitalizing so many things. It's a way to differentiate it. I don't know. It is well within the trend, though, of current Hollywood movies of it's not a remake, it's a sequel.
Right.
It's not a sequel, it's an adaptation.
Right, exactly. It's a spin on a concept we all are familiar with.
Yes.
A franchise we're all familiar with at this point.
Something that we will always do throughout all of human history because we love stories and retelling them.
And spinning them into something new. That's what we're talking about today. And I will go ahead and give y'all some background info on the movie. So we are discussing Ocean's 8, the 2018 sequel to the Ocean's 11 trilogy. Ocean's 8 being directed by Gary Ross, written by Gary Ross and Olivia Milch. And I'm going to add a few more credits than we usually add here because
which is justified based on what we're going to be talking about.
Extremely. Yeah, I think they're really important to the style of this movie. And this movie is like 80% style.
Yes.
So it's really important. So production design by Alex D. Herlando. Probably butchered that. Sorry. Edited by Juliette Welfling. Music by Daniel Pemberton. Costumes designed by Sarah Edwards, a queen. And finally, starring, are y'all ready for this?
Massive, awesome cast. Go.
Bring it. Sandra Bullock.
Yes.
Cate Blanchett.
Hell yeah.
Anne Hathaway.
Love her.
Mindy Kaling.
Wonderful.
Helena Bonham Carter.
Incredible.
Sarah Paulson.
Cannot say enough.
Awkwafina.
I'm running out of adjectives, but she's amazing.
And Rihanna.
Queen.
Yeah, it's wild. I kind of can't believe they pulled together all of these women.
Truly,
to be like, can you imagine the scheduling? I'm like, oh my god.
God, and the budget and the contract.
Yeah.
But it's worth it.
Yeah, and actually, I am gonna go over the budget in a minute, and it's actually maybe not as high as you might think. But anyway, and a couple of supporting roles from Richard Armitage, and somewhat, unfortunately, but he's fine, James Corden.
Yeah. Hey, he's a name.
He's a name.
Know.
Yeah. Everybody seems to hate him these days.
I do.
Yeah. I mean,
I can't entirely vocalize why.
Yeah.
Articulately, but yeah, I don't like him.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard some rumors, but we're not going to get into it. So, the IMDb description reads, Debbie Ocean gathers an all-female crew to attempt an impossible heist at New York City's annual Met Gala. It's pretty great. Yeah, budget for this movie. So I wanted to say real quick that this movie, I believe, made its money back 3 times over at least, which in Hollywood these days is kind of a toss-up whether you're going to make your money back or not.
Yeah.
So it was definitely considered commercially successful. Therefore, it's shocking why there's not more of them.
I mean,
like
I'm sure there will be.
But I hope so.
I sincerely
We're going to talk about later.
Yeah. And I sincerely hope they took so much love and care with this part of the franchise that if they do make another, they have to take that much love and care. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Like part of the appeal of Oceans is it's a good movie.
True facts. Absolutely. That's a really good point.
They've proved proof of concept. They can retell this story and still make it new.
Yeah.
So maybe they're just biding their time, working up a good story.
You're not wrong. I hope that is the case. I have seen a little bit of interview footage with Sandra Bullock saying, like, yes, apparently the cast still has a group chat.
No.
Amazing. And apparently they would all still be on board. They want a female director for the next one, though. And I think a female writer as well. So those are apparently the stipulations, which shouldn't be a problem.
Come on. There are amazing, incredibly talented female writers and directors all over the place.
Yeah, absolutely. That said, would I want to be in charge of that movie? No, there's so many moving pieces. So I can see how writing a script for that sequel might be very intimidating. But I hope it gets made at some point. But anyway, their budget was $70 million, and they made just under $300 million.
Nice.
So pretty good. Actually, so that's like 4 times over.
Yeah, it is.
7 times 4 is 28. Yeah.
Well done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty good. So before we jump into the plot and all the stuff, any opening thoughts you want to lead off with? Your first time watching Ocean's 8.
My first time. What a wonderfully fun romp it was. I did watch it sitting next to Amanda. I need to give this disclosure, this context. Yeah. I watched it sitting next to Amanda, which naturally we're going to be chatting the entire time during the entire movie. So,
and I'm like pointing things out to her, you know, as we go.
So I sincerely hope that I was able to bite my tongue well enough that we saved the good stuff for here. Because I swear to God, as the credits were rolling, I was like screaming into a pillow because I wanted to talk to Amanda.
More or less. Yeah. She was holding back.
Yes. So I hope y'all are excited because this is going to be a good episode because it's a fantastic movie.
Yeah. It's so much fun. Yeah. For me, I mean, it's a heist movie.
Mm-hmm. We love a heist.
Like, come on.
You especially.
Yep. It's glamorous. It has gorgeous women, amazing fashion, the Met freaking Gala, a job in a job. Mm-hmm. It's a double job, which we also talked about in our Leverage episode.
Yep.
Great music. Sandra Bullock and Cate Blanchett, like, constantly looking at each other like they have secrets we don't know.
Yeah. Great chemistry.
Did
you mention
between
the editing?
Everyone?
Because the editing.
Yeah, the editing is bomb. Yeah, all the kind of little editing flourishes.
There's so many. Yeah, guys, I was a former editor in my past life, and I I drool
so many choices
when I see like not unique editing, but stylized editing.
That is exactly what it is. Stylized editing, obviously calling back to all the original Ocean's movies, and by original we mean the George Clooney, Brad Pitt ones. And yeah, what else? Let's see. I think it's quite well written.
Yeah.
Honestly. And there's a twist, you know, towards the end.
Which I feel like is necessary for Oceans.
I think it's a pretty good twist. You don't really see it coming. It's only telegraphed a little bit.
Yeah.
Quite subtly.
It was something that I was like, I see how it fits together now.
Yes, exactly.
And
which I think is the feeling
that, like, you were secretly hoping would kind of happen in the back of your head.
Yeah. And I mean, like, the A plot, so to speak, the A heist is already really good. Mm-hmm. And then you have a B heist. It would have been a
fine story.
Right, exactly. And then the B heist just takes it over the top.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I want to say, can I say that a movie has personality? Because this one has personality.
It has so much personality.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think that obviously comes from the cast chemistry.
Well, literally,
style choices.
The credits that you just read off. Yeah. Those people and so many more behind the scenes who are really love and care is going into it.
Absolutely. You can tell.
There's a unified voice and vision.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, you can tell. I think a similar feeling I have to when I watch certain shows like, I don't know, like Leverage, like Psych to a certain extent, that like you could just tell people were into it, you know, making it.
Yeah, it's for the love of it, for the love of the game.
It's super fun. Mm-hmm. And the movie is fun. Like, the name of the game is fun. Fun. Like, we are here to have a good time. And, you know, that's my favorite kind of movie. And I would say fun, but also cool. Like, Oceans, you gotta be cool. Suave, swag.
Yeah.
Like, you are walking into...
You're a con artist pulling off high dollar crimes.
Yes, exactly.
You gotta be cool.
We're stealing 6 pounds of diamonds, y'all. Minimum. You gotta be some type of way to pull that off. And they are. Yeah, similar... but a little bit more high fashion to how Ocean's 11 was. Like, I think Ocean's 11 also has a fashion to it, or has a fashion focus to it, I would say.
It does, but...
It's a lot of men in suits.
Yeah.
But the suits are all different. If you go and watch Ocean's 11,
true.
Everyone has just like a little bit of a unique
Each of the costumes is unique to the character, and to the personality of the character.
Yeah, if you go up and pay attention to everything Brad Pitt is wearing in particular, he has some crazy stuff.
Good point.
And it's really good. But obviously, this takes it to the next level because we got a lot more people to play with, and I mean, women's fashion is just
a playground.
Yeah,
and like
there's just more.
Yeah. I'm sorry, man. You have it rough in the world of fashion, and I feel for you guys. I really do.
And you know, we're at the Met Gala, so we get to go crazy with some of these dresses, and it's so good. It's so amazing. Yeah, definitely a bit of competence porn in this movie as well.
Great term.
That credit the Leverage writers for that one.
And if you don't know what competence.
Yeah, we have to
Can you explain
re-explain
it,
that.
please? Yeah.
It's basically like the satisfaction you get from watching people be really good at the thing that they're really good at. Basically similar to any heist crew, everyone on the team has a role, and everyone performs their role perfectly,
Exceedingly
beautifully.
well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And everyone is reliable and competent, and like, you know, that you're pretty sure through the whole time that they're going to pull it off.
Yeah.
Because they're that good.
But it's interesting too, because despite having a crew that is so competent and so good,
Yeah.
you like the stakes are still there. You're
Right.
still like, your nerves are wrecked the whole time you're
Yeah.
watching the heist unfold, regardless, even though it's like so good.
Yeah. It's a little unnerving. I will say this is...
Sorry, I'm like, it threads the needle basically. Like, you could be boring with how competent they are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or they could be so incompetent that you're like, how the hell are they pulling this off? This
Right.
is fake. They thread that needle.
Yeah. Well, and I think with this one, there's enough people and enough moving pieces and enough parts to the plan.
Yeah.
That even just that is stakes, like adds...
It's like a Jenga tower.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, there's a lot going on. And you do feel like, well, shit, if at any moment, like, XYZ thing doesn't happen,
Yeah.
then they're fucked.
It's basically like watching a troupe of acrobats perform.
Okay.
You know, like, they're really good, but at the same time, you're like, if one of them
One
fucks
false
up,
move. Yeah. Good point. So I think that's kind of what makes a good heist movie like this, is like, everyone has their thing.
yes,
They're really good at their thing, and all their skills come together for
Yeah.
the con, and we pull it off. So yeah, that's kind of
it's
my,
like they
my
harmonize,
overview.
like in music.
They harmonize. Yes, it's a beautiful choir. Shall we?
All
get
right,
into
enough preamble.
Enough preamble. Let's do the movie. So, first things first. I love that before you even see anything come on screen, you just see the Warner Brothers logo thing happen, the production logos, but you hear the music. It's just like the soundtrack of the movie, pretty much quintessentially heist and con music. Like, if you've watched Leverage, if you watch the original Ocean's movies, you know exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah.
It's like this like jazzy little, like, I don't know, it's got like a playfulness to it. It's got like a mischievousness to it. It's almost its own character.
It truly is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those things that like just helps set the mood, the tone immediately,
Yep.
so effectively.
Yeah. So like basically this like little electronic organ filters in, and like a little jazzy guitar comes in, and you're just like, oh yeah,
And it's
let's
definitely
go.
playing off of like what you already know about that music and
Right.
like the stuff associated with it, right? Like like as soon as I hear it, I'm thinking about Ocean's 11.
Exactly.
Naturally.
Immediately bring
But
it back.
like any other kind of like heisty or like, what's the word I'm looking for? Not film noir, because that's not the right era.
No.
But any kind of con or like
Yeah.
spy type of
Spy,
thing.
yeah.
Spy. Kind of like James Bond.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
something like that. I'm setting the tone instantly. And yeah, just assume from here on out that the soundtrack is amazing and cool and jazzy and snappy and Oceans, you know? It's great. So we open with Debbie Ocean's parole hearing, which is how we get a bunch of pipe really quickly,
Yes.
but set up in the context of the plot. So Debbie is saying that her brother, aka Danny Ocean, may he rest in peace, was a criminal. And she doesn't want that life. If she were to be released, she would just want the simple life. And we also get here that she, quote, fell for the wrong person, because we don't really know how she ended up in jail yet.
Not yet.
No. So teasing you right away as to like how she got there, but not quite telling you yet. Just doing a really good job of filling in some stuff, but also piquing your curiosity around what's the whole backstory.
Yeah, and it kind of, I don't want to reference Ocean's 11 too much, but it does kind of
we're
set
gonna.
up the same way, like
Yeah.
with that opening.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
it's what is
'Cause
it?
Danny
It's
also-
Clooney. Yeah, Danny Ocean, played by George Clooney, coming out of prison.
Yeah, exactly.
Same thing. There's some kind of love interest that went
Yeah.
sideways that's involved in the plot,
Yeah.
and he's out of jail now, but clearly he's not reformed.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. No, it's a
There's
very
a lot,
similar
it's
setup.
basically the same beat.
Yep. But then this establishes right away as well that Debbie is Danny's sister. So she's not a version of him. You know what I mean? Speaking to like the remake versus the sequel of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because she's related to him, there's tension there about the relationship.
Right.
It's almost like a really cheeky way to nod to like Ocean's 11, 2001.
Yeah.
Of saying like, yeah, we know it exists. It's there. It's good.
Yeah.
Okay, can we move on now?
Right.
Can we be our own thing now? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There's
I
like attitude to it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, an attitude, and then, but like also letting you know, we remember this guy.
Yeah. And I will say respect, because we'll talk about the end scene at the end.
Yes, yeah, for sure. Okay. So moving on, we see her get released. So she wins over the parole board, and she's wearing the first of several amazing looks.
Oh my God.
Is this like gold and black evening dress.
My jaw hit the floor.
Girl, for the first time of many.
Yes.
So she has on the dress because you wear the same clothes
out of prison
that you walked in with, which is a crazy idea to me.
Yeah, I wonder how true that is,
right?
In real life.
Because it's in like every single movie
What
ever.
if you got super fat while you were in there?
Oh shit. No. Actually though, because like prison food?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or what if you got super buff and you went in super
Yeah.
scrawny? Like, what if your clothes don't fit?
Like, would they give you clothes?
What if you got rested naked? Okay, all right, we're spiraling.
Okay. Moving on. So yeah, she's wearing this amazing black and gold evening dress. She chats with the guard as she's getting her stuff, which includes a watch that has Danny engraved on the back. So we know that, yes, indeed, the Danny Ocean is her brother. And she tells the guard lady that we're getting a regular shipment next week. You take your cut plus a few extra cartons and sell them. Don't smoke them. So I love that has this like cigarette smuggling side gig.
Yeah. It's like no matter where
prison.
she goes, she's in charge.
Exactly. Like she's the kind of she's the kind of person who can't just sit still and do nothing ever. Like she always has something going on. Like she's in prison. Like that is the ultimate excuse to
do nothing.
But she's got this whole like little mini empire going on with the cigarette smuggling and selling. And yeah, so she walks out of the prison and we get a great sweeping shot of NYC and our title card, Ocean's 8, which has some nice snappy animation that reminds me of some of the snappy transitions we're going to do throughout the movie. As you talked about before, the editing is great. And also definitely a callback to Ocean's 11 and that signature style. So now we get our first on-screen con of the movie. Debbie walks into Bergdorf Goodman, which is a like fancy department store basically, picks out a few items, a lipstick, a perfume, some other stuff.
Super casual.
Just casual. She's just strolling around this store in her fancy dress, eye makeup on full.
Yeah.
Hair on.
Looking hella good somehow.
Hair looking amazing. How she was able to style her hair in the prison, we don't ask questions.
We just accept it. She looks fantastic.
She looks amazing. Come
Fucking
on.
Deal.
Again, this movie is 80% style.
Yes.
She walks up to the cashier and asks to return them because they're unopened and untouched. And the cashier is like, I'm sorry, I really need your receipt. Debbie's like, come on, they're unopened, untouched. Like, here's the card. Like, I bought them. The lady's like, well, I can't, sorry. Like, and finally she's like, well, can I at least get a bag? And I'll just keep them. Fine, whatever. And the lady's like, sure, and gives her a bag and
just
puts
like
the stuff in the bag. And she just walks out.
Just like that.
She just walks out. It's an A+ mini con.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to kick you off. Be like, she knows her stuff. She knows what she's doing.
And I feel like every con story always starts off with that. Like a con that almost anyone could pull off.
Yeah.
But the trick of the con is the confidence.
Right, exactly.
Right.
You have to have the cojones to walk in there and be like, this is my stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then she goes to a hotel and she overhears a couple checking out from their room 2814. And she calls the front desk pretending to be the wife and says, oh, our flight got canceled. Can we get our original room back? And the front desk lady's like, sure, no problem, of course. And she's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Would it be possible to get the maid in there now? Sure, of course. She just rolls into the open hotel room because the hotel room is unlocked and open because the maid's in there. And just says to the maid, oh my gosh, can you come back later? I just need to get off my feet. Boom. Hotel room secured.
She's got housing for the night. Like,
yeah, it's amazing.
New clothes, new makeup.
Yeah, she's like
put up for the night. She's good.
Yeah, the maid's like cart is outside the room. She like grabs a couple little things from the cart and like adds them to her bag. Yeah, so she has acquired clothing, makeup, etc., and a place to stay. So now we see Debbie in the bath. She's got a nice bubble bath, and she's looking at a list she has written on paper from the Department of Corrections. And I tried to be a crazy person here and like pause and zoom in and try and see every list item on this list. I couldn't see everything, but number 1 is BEFF, so BFF, so Cate Blanchett's character, who we're about to meet. 2, I think it says Whole Monty. 3 says Sketchy. 4 and 5 I can't read. 6 says More the Merrier. 7 says Made in Heaven. 8 says Hallelujah Time. 9 says Spring Break. 10 says Crack in the Mirror. And the rest of them I can't read. There's 14.
So is it Steps in the Plan?
It's Steps in the Plan.
Okay.
So the only one I could match was the first one. And then More the Merrier, I'm assuming is referring to collecting the team.
Getting the crew.
Yeah, I don't know, like Whole Monty, that's only the second list item. Don't know what that is.
Hold on. Now
Made in Heaven?
I'm curious. Well, it's like a match made in heaven, right? So it's finding the date for Anne Hathaway.
Maybe. Yeah, okay, I could see that.
And a Full Monty, come on. I'm so curious now. Everything which is necessary, appropriate, or possible. The works.
Yeah.
The whole thing. Everything that's needed.
Whole Monty. I don't know.
Yeah, that one's a little harder.
Yeah, I would love to know if I'm assuming the writers sat down, broke down the plot.
Yeah, I wonder if Full Monty is just like a reference to like the money that's needed, or
maybe
like anything that's not people that's needed to pull it off.
Maybe. As she tells Cate Blanchett's character, whose name is Lou, later, they don't actually need that much money to pull this off, which is part of the irony, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I liked this list that she wrote.
I wonder if it was like the writer's terms for the different beats they wanted to hit.
Oh, that'd be so awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it had to be something along those lines, right?
Like, complete sidebar, but if you ever seen Hot Fuzz, there is a whiteboard and they've named each of the beats, and then they go from there, and that's how they design the story.
Cool. So they like in behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Stuff?
So like
cool.
They knew the beats they wanted to hit and the different like acts.
Yeah. I mean, that's how you should do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, I kind of wonder if that was their way of outlining the beats.
Might be.
Because that'd be cool to like include that in the movie.
Yeah. 14 items total.
Yeah.
If any of y'all have any idea, like if y'all have seen this movie and you have any idea what like each item corresponds to what part of the movie, I'd be super curious. I guess I haven't thought about it that hard, but like, it's fun. So yeah, basically the point of this scene though is to show that Deb has a plan. And of course it's in code because she wrote it in prison and she's not stupid. And then from here, music comes in, like you hear kind of like house music start to fade in, and we cut to the queen herself, Cate Blanchett, in Here We Go.
She looks incredible.
Here we go.
Does she not?
Red leather pants, a silver and black leather blazer, leather on leather, y'all, which not everybody can pull off. She can. Blinged out beyond belief.
So bling.
Watches and bracelets and necklaces, and a blonde textured bob, and a smoky eye for the gods.
It's the hair and the makeup that really puts it over the edge for me.
Yeah. I almost choked the first time I saw this.
It's so weird to say that, but like I almost picture like a mafia like boss's wife. Like picture that in your head on Cate Blanchett, but somehow
way more hardcore,
hot and sexy, and it works. Like it's something that's so over the top, it shouldn't make sense, but it does.
That's a good point. Yeah, there are few people that could pull this off and look as cool as she does.
And I mean that for every outfit she has in this movie.
Yeah, basically. I'm going to shout out many more of them.
Yeah.
Honestly, like probably it's close, but I would say her fashion is, for me, the best in the movie. Debbie also has a lot of iconic looks. Anne Hathaway also, obviously, looks great. Everybody looks great. But in terms of like having a look, a capital L look.
Cate Blanchett.
Cate Blanchett. I mean, come on. Yeah, it's amazing. So she's sitting in this like dingy room with a bunch of girls around diluting huge bottles of vodka with water. Judge Judy is on the background.
Great touch.
Yeah, it's such a good touch. And she's like yelling, you know, Judge Judy is yelling on the TV. She's like, "You think I trust anything you're saying? The answer is absolutely not." Which, yeah, I thought was great. It's just like setting, like, if you're listening to that,
it's using diegetic sound to like help enhance the story.
Enhance the story and tell you, like,
give you information.
Like, remember, we're about to do a con.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Do you know what's coming?
It's a really clever use of diegetic sound.
Yeah, it's awesome. And yeah, so Lou, Cate Blanchett's character's name is Lou, chastises one of the girls for not filling the bottles correctly, saying that she doesn't want it to taste like vodka. She wants it to taste like vodka and water, because when you're drunk, it still tastes like vodka. And that's con number 3, if you're keeping track. And she walks down into the club, and Best Friend by Sophie Tucker is playing in the background. And I don't know if you remember this song.
Oh, that was Sophie Tucker?
Yeah.
Oh.
You are my best friend and we got some shit to shoot.
I don't remember that song, but I love Sophie Tucker.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a banger. I think this movie launched that song. Like, this song was everywhere on the radio for a while around this movie. So
Checks
A+,
out.
it bangs. And like, you know, the song's called Best Friend. Like, there's best friend prominently in the lyrics. So if you didn't already know, her and Debbie are best friends. And to confirm it, we see her get a text from Jailbird, all caps, no vowels. And the text says, "Where's the fucking cemetery? 12 p.m.?" To which she says out loud, "Oh, miss you too." And yeah, this whole thing is just a hell of an entrance. It's a great entrance. I love it. We see Debbie at Danny's memorial. So Danny Ocean is supposedly dead.
Mm-hmm. Buried in a mausoleum.
In a mausoleum. And she's like looking at his, you know, the stone. It's not a headstone. What would you call it?
I genuinely believed this was going to be that scene in Psych where they're in a mausoleum. I don't know what it's called. Whatever the plaque is, that's like, this person's buried.
It's
here.
like a headstone, but not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Headstone on the wall.
Yeah.
But I thought it was going to be that scene in Psych where they take the stanchion and they bust it open because I think money's buried behind it.
Or like that part in National Treasure where they like come out of the wall out of a grave.
I was like, something's going to happen.
Yeah. No, it doesn't.
I see a mausoleum and I know there's something buried there that's not a body.
Right. I mean, it's definitely ambiguous. Literally, we zoom in on her, and her first line in this scene is, "You better be in there." Which is great because we're all already thinking it. We're all already like, is he really dead? Come on.
He's going to make a cameo? Come on.
Right. And she has a chat with Ruben from the original series, who is like sort of hiding behind a wall, but then he comes out and they start chatting. And he's trying to dissuade her from doing this heist, whatever she's going to do. He doesn't even know what it is. But apparently, Danny said her plan was brilliant and that she would probably end up back in prison.
I forgot that one. I completely blanked that one out.
Yeah. So we get a little sort of aside from Danny without actually having him there.
Oh my God. I would love to hear the conversation between the two of them discussing that plan. Because she would have been on a recorded line.
Well, that's the other thing. It's like, how did they talk about it?
Exactly.
Yeah. I thought that too. Right. Because she would have been in prison.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How else would they have talked?
Coded.
So,
it had to be in code.
Right. Like probably a code they've learned since childhood of like how to talk about stuff without talking about stuff.
Because like to be as good as they are at conning, you have to be doing it a long time.
Right.
Which means they probably learned together. They had to learn from someone to both be in the like same game.
Well, and we kind of learn in this movie, if not in the original Ocean's movie. I can't remember if they said anything about this, but we definitely learn in this movie that they are basically part of a heist and con crime family. Like their whole family is this, because there's a line later where Debbie's talking to James Corden's character and she says he caught my father twice and my brother once. So you know that at least her father is involved
Yeah.
in this stuff as well.
There's
So
just-
presumably
there's
they grew
so
up on
much,
this
and
stuff.
this is part of what makes this movie so fun is
Yeah.
there's this rich world building
Yes.
that happens that
Subtly.
never is talked about, or
Subtext,
if it is
baby.
talked about, it's like quick little references.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it just helps enrich the characters and the stakes that are involved.
Absolutely. And it's the kind of writing that goes under the radar.
Yeah.
Like, not enough people got it, but it's definitely there.
It's enticing.
Yeah, extremely. Yeah.
All of this writing is enticing.
So let's see. Yeah, her plan was brilliant, but she's probably going to end up back in prison. Debbie says she's not going to end up back in prison, and basically says bye to Ruben, like, gotta go. And she walks out, and there's an old Toyota truck of some kind waiting for her.
Which, hold on, real quick sidebar, because Ruben, he wasn't like the main operator, but he was the main backer in the original, right?
Okay, yeah.
And so it's kind of like, again, being cheeky with I'm just going to call it the original.
Yeah.
The original, like, it's, I'm trying to like figure out, because I'm starting to understand the metaphor of the different scenes that they have that reference back to the original Ocean. So I'm like trying to unpack this one.
Yeah.
Of like, is it their way of saying like, we're taking the reins now and we're trying to separate ourselves?
I don't know if it was that deep, to be honest. I feel like
Because what was the point of including him?
a cameo.
Just a cameo?
Like, you remember this guy? He's nice.
I don't know. Okay.
Well, and I think also
I'm just not satisfied with that. I feel like there's more intention that was put into that scene.
I agree. I think the intention was to show that Debbie has a connection to these other people that we already know. Mm-hmm. And the fact that she was able to tell her brother about this plan that she has.
True.
And her brother essentially approved of it,
Yeah, and I guess
but said, you're probably going to get caught.
in a way, it's telling the audience this plan is going to be on the same caliber
Yes.
of Ocean's.
That's what it is.
But we are still implying there is a risk here of her getting caught.
Right, exactly.
Okay. All right. That's satisfying.
We
We're
got
good.
it. We did it.
We're there.
Okay, so yeah, she walks out, old Toyota truck waiting for her. She gets in. Lou leans over and hugs and kisses her on the side of the head in a very friendly way. And to which Debbie says, hey, take it easy. I've been in the slammer. And Lou goes, oh, I thought you just changed your number. And they drive off. It's real good. I won't do the whole dialogue of the rest of the scene, but basically what follows is a lot of banter in which Lou, aka Cate Blanchett, tries to get Debbie to tell her what this great plan is before she agrees to help. And finally, Debbie says it's jewels. Spectacular, great, big, blingy, big old Liz Taylor jewels that are locked in a vault 50 feet underground. How do we get them out of the vault? They're going to bring them to us. It's so good! Oh, it's like, that just feels so iconic to me.
Yeah. It's laying out the plan with such confidence.
Yeah.
And again, it's sounding so ridiculous.
Well, not even laying out the plan, just like...
No, but being like, this is what's going to happen.
Right.
There's how many millions of dollars of jewels this far underground. They are literally going to give it to us.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds ridiculous.
And again, like, cool factor on 100.
Because of the confidence.
Because of the confidence. Also because of the way they look and the way they're talking to each other. Come on. Also, what a setup.
Yeah.
Like, basically setting you up for the rest of the movie. Like, big old blingy Liz Taylor jewels. Cool. Like, diamonds. Give me diamonds, baby. Let's steal some diamonds. Hell yeah. Locked in a vault 50 feet underground. Cool. Amazing. So it's hard to get out. But they're going to bring them to us. Like, dude.
Okay. And this is why I love spoilers. Because if you hear the reductive version of the future, you want to know how it comes to fruition.
Okay.
That's why I love spoilers. That's why I love knowing what happens.
Okay. But like, this isn't a very roundabout way. Like, we haven't even gotten into it.
No, but
yet.
I'm saying this is a spoiler. This is what's going to happen.
Yeah, true.
It's reductive.
Yeah.
But this is what happens.
Yeah.
And you keep watching because you want to know how.
Well, and like, Lou even has a line that's something along the lines of like, this is what you, to Debbie, like, this is what you do. You make me guess.
Yeah.
And then you make me, like, I get interested, and then I want to know what the plan is. And like, so it's a technique that Debbie uses, apparently.
Yes. And it's effective.
Yeah, and it works.
It works on me too.
Yeah. The other thing about this initial conversation they have with each other is, to me, you can instantly tell that they've known each other forever. Mm-hmm. Like, just the rapport they have is just like...
It's like borderline flirtatious.
Girl. I don't know if it's borderline.
It's like outright flirtatious.
Yeah. We're going to get into that a little bit more. Yeah, there's just like a little bit of cat and mouse happening. Mm-hmm. It's chef's kiss. Amazing. More. I want more. And yeah, so we roll into Lou's massive loft space. How she got this space in New York, we don't know. But it has like 10 bedrooms on the mezzanine level. And it looks great. And Debbie says, nice place. And Lou's response is, try heating it. But Debbie's stuff is upstairs. And we do a great transition where she's like sliding dresses through her closet. And then it's like a wipe transition to go into the next scene.
Again, editing.
Hell yeah.
Fist pumping right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's real nice. Again,
I
style.
love motivated like swipes in editing.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Like on-screen motivation makes it 10,000 times better. So we transition, and now we're going to meet Claude. So apparently she found yet another spectacular black cocktail dress and a white coat to wear to this gallery opening at Claude Becker Gallery. And we meet Claude, played by Richard Armitage. Long story short, Debbie subtly threatens him with a shiv in his own gallery, calls him a snitch, and takes off just one of his shirt buttons with the shiv. And we immediately cut back to Debbie and Lou
Which
eating.
is like both sexy and threatening at the same time.
Yes, I echo that 100 times. And we immediately cut back to Debbie and Lou eating takeout Chinese and talking about this. She's still wearing the dress and everything. And Lou's like, why'd you do that? And Debbie's like, closure? And they just kind of laugh about the whole thing. It's pretty cute. And Cate Blanchett has a plastic bunny mask on her head for no reason. Moving on. Yeah, we get another sweeping shot of NYC, and this is the Central Park one. So NYC is kind of our 9th character in this movie. Yeah. Kind of how I've heard a lot of people talk about Sex and the City, and like NYC is almost a character in Sex and the City.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it feels very present in this movie. The city does, especially because we're at the Met Gala for a lot of it.
Right. I mean, they're taking advantage of this. It's the same thing with the original Oceans being set in Vegas. Mm-hmm. There's like Vegas is a character in that movie as well.
Absolutely.
It contributes to the style and like.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that, but yeah, absolutely.
and the motivation and everything. Yeah.
Of the casino and all that stuff. Yeah. Right. Because like there is only one Met Gala. Like I feel like very similar to original Oceans. Like there's only one Bellagio.
Right.
Yeah, awesome.
And then, taking advantage of the full scape that surrounds it.
Mm-hmm. And they actually shot there. Mm-hmm. Like everywhere they shot, not everywhere they shot, but like a lot of places they shot are actual like iconic New York locations.
Yeah.
Anyway, we zoom into our ladies walking towards the Met as Debbie starts to explain the job and how she came up with the plan. And they're robbing the Met Gala. And we see a poster for the current exhibit on display, which is Historical Fashion of European Royalty. And that will be relevant later, so just put that one in your back pocket. Cut to Debbie and Lou eating breakfast in a restaurant somewhere. Lou is saying, it's still a museum. It's not like robbing a liquor store. And Debbie replies that we're not robbing the museum. We're robbing someone in the museum. Which, they're kind of doing both. But we'll get to that later.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
For plot purposes, for right now, we're obscuring that. So, and Lou doesn't know the full plan yet. So, just for context, Debbie is wearing like a sage green trench coat, and Lou is wearing a velvet forest green blazer. I can't deal. We move on.
Just keep going.
There's going to be more. Don't worry. Lou says, look, even if this was possible, we'd need like 20 people and $500,000. And Debbie just goes, nope, 7. We need 7 people and 20 grand. And Lou's like, okay, why do you need to do this? And Debbie replies, it's what I'm good at. And this was a moment that I clocked in comparison to original Ocean's 11 because there's a very, very similar moment with Danny and Rusty.
Yes.
George Clooney and Brad Pitt.
Yep. And
basically, Rusty asked him the exact same question, like, why do this? And Danny's reply is, why not do it? So I like there's a distinction there. His reply is, why not?
Yeah.
Because I can. Her reply is, it's what I'm good at.
Yes.
And I feel like it's really interesting. I feel like this speaks to the core of her character. It's like it's about living up to her potential, almost. Or like,
yeah, and like
she doesn't need to prove anything, but she kind of needs to prove something.
I mean, she's the type of person that's bored otherwise. She literally intentionally, and we find this out, I think, earlier, she intentionally got herself thrown into solitary so she could think and come up with this plan.
Yeah, that's in the earlier part of the scene where she
she's like, as you said earlier, she can't sit still.
No.
And now that she's out of prison and she spent so much time thinking about this, of course she's going to do it. She can't sit still.
Yeah.
I want to point out too, since you brought up the original in that scene, there's a hidden motivation in the original Oceans that's implied. Because Brad Pitt knows something, George Clooney knows something, and the audience doesn't. And we find out later that the sort of B plot of that heist was getting his wife back, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so his motivation wasn't just to rob the Bellagio, it was to rob his ex-wife's husband. Right? There was a romantic element involved in the heist. And there's a similar vibe here that I picked up on as well. There's
similar but different.
There's a hidden motivation we're not being told yet.
Yeah, true facts. Yeah, and we're going to get to that later. So Debbie's still explaining the plan. She says it took her 3 years to refine the plan, and they won't get caught. And in every version of the plan, Lou was there with her every step of the way. And Lou says, "Aw, honey, is this a proposal?" And Debbie goes, "Baby, I don't have a diamond yet."
It's so adorable. I love them.
And then she feeds Lou a bite of her pancakes, and it's pretty gay, you guys. I don't know what else to say.
It's I love it.
Yeah, those are the vibes. I mean, honestly, this movie was made for the girls and the gays. Let's be honest.
It's just so unapologetic about what it is, and like the way that they. Do you know? You're looking at me with this blank.
I want you to elaborate.
Okay, I think that's what makes it so, at least for me, so enticing. Is like, no, we're not gonna apologize. They're close friends. This is how close they are.
Yeah.
There's style, there's flair, there's no shame.
Yeah.
It's just whether or not they have any kind of intimate relationship, it literally does not matter.
True.
This is how they interact.
Yeah.
And there's a certain freedom to that.
Well, yeah, and I think it goes back to the idea of like they have known each other. I would say they have known each other minimum 20 years.
Yeah. Like the level of comfortability. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Basically, the whole point is that Lou's on board with the plan now.
Yeah.
They go to the Met Gala press conference where Daphne Kluger is being announced as the celebrity host, played by Anne Hathaway. But she's not our mark, Debbie says. We need a designer. So back at the loft, they're flipping through old issues of Vogue, and Lou points out Rose Vial, played by the legend herself, Helena Bonham Carter. And Rose is kind of washed out as a designer, but she's still chummy with Anna Wintour, like the real life Anna Wintour at Vogue. And also, Rose Vial owes the IRS $5 million. So that's our mark. Now, Rose is actually part of the team, but at this point, it kind of feels like they were trying to figure out a way to get the word mark in there.
Yeah.
and they are they need to convince her to join them, basically.
Right, because it's not like you're recruiting someone who's already a career criminal.
Yeah, exactly. And like Mark in the sense of they need her to have a reason to want to steal this diamond necklace with them.
Yep.
And they need something to convince her with.
Yeah.
So
they have to convince her to literally put the rest of her life on the line.
Yeah,
they would
exactly.
be in prison for the rest of their life. Yeah.
So they go to Rose's last-ditch attempt at a fashion show, which seems to be flight attendant chic, if you can call it that. But much more importantly, Cate Blanchett is wearing a powder blue suit, white dress shirt, again blinged out, and it's show-stopping. It might be the best look. Well, it might be the best look of the whole movie.
That's a bold statement.
That's a bold statement, I know.
You're going to say that again.
I'm probably going to say it again. But it's easily the most important thing about this scene.
No other context matters. Moving on. Next scene.
But anyway, she
what
and
if
Debbie...
we did an entire podcast episode where we just talked about the costume, described it, moved on to the next scene, literally talked no other details?
I mean, I could probably make that happen. We'd have to find a specific episode, but yeah. So she and Debbie approach Rose, who's sitting on the floor with an open jar of Nutella, crying. Iconic. Deb and Lou introduce themselves and say, what if we could make this all go away? All you have to do is dress Daphne Kluger for the Met Ball. And Rose is intrigued, but also she accuses them of being journalists, which was funny. And we go back to the loft and they show Rose Daphne's picture and a picture of the Toussaint, the big ass 6-pound diamond necklace that they're going to steal from Cartier. Cartier never lets it out of their vault, but they might let it out of the vault for a huge celebrity at the biggest party of the year, which is the Met Ball. And the theme of this year's Met Ball is European royalty. So if Rose insists on having the Toussaint and like basically the pieces all fall into place.
Yeah.
And she agrees because she's fucked otherwise.
Right.
And yeah, it's a nice little scene. And probably my favorite part of the scene is while Rose is talking about Daphne and like looking at her picture and stuff. At one point, Debbie, Sandra Bullock, just looks at Lou, Cate Blanchett, and they do this several times throughout the movie where they communicate in looks. Mm-hmm. And again, it's like the we've known each other for 20 years thing. But this look, I can't place the look, but it's something along the lines of like, see, it's working. Like, look, we're doing it. And then like this like little cocky smirk. And Lou kind of meets the look and then looks away. And her expression is either this bitch or oh shit, I'm in love. And I don't know which one I want it to be more.
Porque no los dos.
Porque no los dos. Yeah, honestly, could be. Anything to add at this point?
Oh, Helena Bonham Carter has an adorable Irish accent.
Is she actually Irish?
No. I
No?
don't think she is.
Okay.
Pretty sure she's just solidly English.
Really? Okay.
Could be wrong.
Yeah, she is Irish in this either way.
It's adorable.
Yeah, I was assuming that everyone was rolling with their regular accents because Cate Blanchett has an Australian accent.
Yeah, and that's what she was going with.
Yeah. Although her accent kind of fades in and out sometimes.
Yeah, no, she's English.
She is English.
Yeah,
okay.
and it is a very distinct Irish accent. It's not a caricature Irish accent.
No.
No, it's like I could not place what region it's from.
Yeah.
But it's one of those that's like subtle enough.
Yeah,
I don't know,
realistic.
it's like Cork or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that is part of her
I have a
character.
soft spot for Irish accents. Sorry.
No, I like it too. It is part of her character for whatever reason. Yeah, and you know, she looks like Helena Bonham Carter, but I don't know, like she is her own character.
Yeah,
but
it's frazzled, but
yeah,
also I don't. It's hard to describe.
But
her.
it still works.
Yeah,
I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, her hair. She has the hair happening. Okay, so we got Rose on board. So now we're going to get the rest of the crew. So we meet Amita, who's played by Mindy Kaling, who works in her family's jewelry store. And she's arguing with her mom over how to grade a diamond, categorize it by quality, I guess. And her mom immediately compares her to her sister and says, this is why you'll never get a husband, because they're arguing. And Amita's like really fed up and then goes outside to meet Debbie. And they start talking and she says, sorry about Danny. And Debbie replies, sorry about your pops. So I love that immediately we know that they know each other without
and
us
that
saying
they've
anything.
also like are within each other's circles enough to know
their family.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it makes it seem like the Oceans have worked with Amita's family, possibly going way back.
Ooh.
Is kind of what I read.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, like, if she knows Danny, you know what I mean? Like, why else would they know?
Yeah, there's definitely an implication there.
Yeah. So Debbie asked, how long would it take you to make 7 pieces of jewelry if the stones were already cut? Probably 5 or 6 hours. How long if I told you didn't have to live with your mother anymore? Less.
Same, girl.
So Amita's in, and that's our 4th member. So Debbie comes back to the loft, and Lou is there already with none other than your girl Rihanna. And we immediately get a, she's in. Classic.
Also, I just want to interject here.
Yeah.
Every single time, I did not know the cast going in.
No, you didn't.
Every single time we rolled up on a
Yes.
new like
You were like,
member
oh my
of the
God.
heist, I was like, no fucking way. And yeah, literally when
It was
Rihanna
awesome.
came on screen, I was like, okay, all right, come on. How
Yeah.
the hell did they get Rihanna?
It was excellent. Yeah, because all you knew was Sandra Bullock, really.
Sandra Bullock, and I vaguely was aware that Anne Hathaway was in it, but I
Okay.
didn't know how much.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that was a really fun part of watching it with you.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time up
oh
until
my
the
God.
end of the movie.
Seriously. Because they just keep coming.
Yes.
Okay. So she's in where? Rihanna, aka Nineball, is our hacker, and she's in the Met security cameras. So Debbie and Lou squabble a little bit about her while Nineball lights up a joint in the background.
Yeah.
And we do a bit where Debbie is like, okay, so do I call you Nineball? And she's like, or Baller. She's just like smoking. And like Lou's trying not to laugh in the background. It's pretty good. But she's in also. So that's our
Just
fifth.
because her like aesthetic is so antithetical to Deb's.
Yeah.
She's so
to
thrown
either
off
of
for a
them,
second.
honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely.
But they eventually, and it's funny because they are off beat with each other, but they do eventually sync up with the rest of the crew.
Right, everybody does. Yeah, for sure. You would think it's a lot of contrasting personalities that you would think wouldn't work together.
Yeah.
But they're all super united behind this common goal. So, okay, we got our fifth. So Lou and Debbie take Rose which is Helena Bonham Carter, to a restaurant where they're going to meet with someone even more famous than Daphne Kluger to make Daphne jealous and want to meet Rose to design her dress for the Met Ball. So they coach Rose through the meeting, which is good for some laughs and more snappy dialogue. And they get some pictures of Rose and Penelope Stern, who's played by Dakota Fanning, because why not?
I didn't even realize that was
Yeah.
Dakota Fanning. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Even still.
Right. Yeah. Again, they just keep coming.
Wow. Okay.
So it's funny, and it works. Daphne sees the photo in an actual newspaper that she's reading and gets jealous and asks to meet Rose about the Met Ball.
Yeah. A little bit of social engineering going on here.
Yes, yeah. And yeah, just like setting up the con. So fun stuff there. Rose goes to meet Daphne at another restaurant with the advice from Lou and Debbie to be indifferent because it's an aphrodisiac, very little eye contact. The whole scene, they're talking. It keeps cutting back to Debbie and Lou outside in the window watching Rose, cut back to Rose and Daphne, cut back to Debbie and Lou with bubble guns and just shades on, straight face, blowing bubbles at the window.
And they're like little spinny light up ones.
Yeah, like these little
Bubble
toy
guns.
bubble gun things. Cut back to
It's so ridiculous. I'm sorry.
no, it is peak comedy. It's
Every
peak
time
comedy
I picture
moment.
the scene, I do giggle like this.
Yeah. Every time I watch it, I giggle.
It's just again, I love editing, and it just goes to show
It is
how punchy editing can add humor to a scene.
Absolutely. It really emphasizes it. And finally, like Daphne looks around, like, what are you looking at? But they're gone, and there's just like a few stray
Solitary
bubbles
bubble.
in the window. And yeah, it's like such a hilarious, bizarre moment of comedy. And as far as I can tell, it has no purpose. Like it's just there.
Yeah.
For laughs.
It was probably like someone on set probably saw somebody selling the bubble guns on the street, like some kind of street vendor, and they're like, "Guys, I got an idea."
I would love to know the BTS because, yeah. I guess you could say that it serves as a distraction for Rose to not pay too much attention to
there's
Daphne.
a motivation to it.
There's sort of motivation
It's
to
not
it,
just
but like,
completely out of left field.
yeah, but like they didn't have to go that hard.
No.
But they did. It's really good.
There you go. There's the tagline of the movie. They didn't have to go that hard.
They didn't have to go this hard,
But they did. Anyway.
They did. That's so true. Anyway, it works, and Daphne hires Rose to be her designer for the Met Ball. So Debbie and Lou go to meet someone Lou says has some of the best hands she's ever seen. And Debbie replies, "Is this one sane?" 100%. And we see Awkwafina.
Yes. Yes. Sorry,
Yep.
I love her. I love her so much.
Who doesn't? We see Awkwafina playing 3-card Monty with tourists, and she takes this guy's money and then also steals his watch, like behind his back as she's hugging him.
Yeah.
And Debbie's like, not bad. And we cut to the three of them in Subway, like the sandwich place. And Constance, literally Constance is her name, is Awkwafina's character. And she's like ordering a sub and asking them about the job. But then she's like, all right, I'm in. And that's our 6th. And she starts to leave, but then Debbie asks for her watch back. And then, and she's like, oh, and hers as well. And Lou's like, what? No, I didn't. But her watch is gone. And Awkwafina's just like, sorry, and awkwardly gives them back their watches and leaves. Yeah, she gives me Parker vibes a little bit.
Yeah.
Just like the awkward turtle, but a really freaking good thief.
Right, yeah. It's just Awkwafina being Awkwafina.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming she had to learn how to do some lifts.
Oh, yeah.
For this?
Yeah, I'm sure she did.
Yeah, I'm sure she didn't do, like for this scene in particular, she probably didn't. But there's some stuff later where you're like, oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, no, for sure. Actors always end up learning a lot of weird random skills because of stuff like this. Yeah. So I 100% believe she learned how to lift.
Yeah. So that is our 6th. So back at the loft, Debbie and Lou are throwing out names for one more crew member.
Sorry, real random side note that just popped in my head.
What?
Anne Hathaway, when she was in Brokeback Mountain, they asked her if she knew how to ride a horse, and she lied. And then up until the point of shooting, she spent almost every day like learning how to ride a horse.
Oh my God. Like, so she lied before she had the part?
Yeah.
Oh,
which is apparently really common for like actors to do. Where
right.
It's like,
and then
of course I know how to do it.
Yeah. And then you just learn it. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
To me. I feel like I do that as a freelancer sometimes.
Right.
Or like, do you know how to write this? And I'm like, yeah.
Are you kidding? I do that at my job all the time. I was like, yeah, of course I know how to do that. Excuse me 1 second while I go to Google.
Yeah, exactly.
Unrelated.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're trying to find our last crew member, and Lou tries to suggest a dude, but Debbie says no. A him gets noticed, a her gets ignored, and for once we want to be ignored. It doesn't fully track on the logic for this particular Met Gala, like high fashion con that they're doing. Like, they are women dressed in beautiful dresses.
Yeah.
They're getting noticed.
But not for the right reasons.
Not for the right reasons. You're right. But anyway, I appreciate the movie trying to give us an in-universe reason for it to be an all-female crew.
Yeah. While also providing a slight nod of feminist critique of like women are severely underrated and an all-woman movie does not get as much attention.
Yeah. Yep. A him gets noticed, a her gets ignored, and for once we want to be ignored.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they use that line in the trailer.
Yeah. And it's also like, at least to me, I also kind of read it as a way of like, they give this to you as a disadvantage, so use it to your advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Take back your power.
Yeah.
Anyway, Lou says, what about Tammy? So we cut to suburban mom, Sarah Paulson, making a smoothie. And
I'm sorry. I need to jump in here on the description.
Hit me.
Of like the mise en scène.
Oh.
Like from what I remember, because I haven't seen this in what, like 2 weeks now at this point. This scene stands out to me so much because it's like a knee-jerk reaction that I have.
Okay.
Of white mom who has everything perfectly in order all the time. Right? Like her hair is perfectly straight, perfectly parted. There is literally not a hair out of place.
She comes across as a little uptight.
Yeah, she's wearing like a sweater vest.
In the appearance.
Her kitchen is like gleaming white and super clean. Yeah, she's making like the super health food smoothie, which, sorry, I know you're into that stuff, but like as a layman,
I mean, she's making a very green. It did not look like that smoothie tastes good.
No.
I do try to make my smoothies taste good.
But yeah, there's it's just such every detail.
Yeah.
A bit of the character, of the design, everything. It
screams upper middle class suburbs.
Yes. And it's, why the hell would this woman be in a heist?
Yeah.
What?
We're not in her garage yet, though.
No.
So we're going to get there. So yeah, we cut to her. She's making a smoothie, telling her kids to go outside when she gets a call from Debbie Ocean. And she picks it up and she's like about to say like, why are you calling me? And Debbie's like, I'm in your garage. And she goes to meet her. And there is all this stuff in her garage. soda streams, blenders, drills, something that looks like a Segway, like all in boxes stacked all over the garage.
And like what you already know of her, at least for me, I was like, oh my God, she's a hoarder.
That's not where I went because everything is so well organized.
Yeah.
It is extremely well organized.
There's a purpose to it, but my initial gut reaction.
Hoarder. Yeah, I see it. It's like a maze, but a well organized maze. And they're talking amongst the boxes, basically. And there's like a rack of bikes on the wall. Like there's all this stuff. And Tammy's like, what are you doing here? I thought you were in jail. And Debbie's like, I got out. I thought you were retired. And she's like, I did. And like starts to get real skittish about this whole situation. Debbie's like, oh, not as exciting as hijacking trucks that are smuggling dishwashers from Canada, huh? So like great bit of backstory in one line. Mm-hmm. Economy of story. And Tammy's like, yeah, well, I don't do that anymore. And Deb's like, but you're so good at it. You're not bored out here, are you, Tam Tam? And Debbie like slowly backs her into a stack of boxes.
She's slowly backing her into a corner.
Yes, slowly backing her into a corner for sure. Once again, the energy is a little gay.
Yeah.
If anyone was going to challenge Lou for like mysterious backstory with Debbie Ocean, it would be Tammy. Because again, this is one of the few characters. So about half the crew knows each other from before and half the crew are new.
Yeah.
So they knew each other already. So I just love the like dichotomy of like who knows each other, how long did you know each other, what jobs did you pull before.
Right. There's so much intrigue.
A lot of intrigue, a lot of juicy subtext. Yeah. That we don't know, but you can have fun inferring about it.
Exactly.
Anyway, Tammy's like, why would you ask that? And Debbie's like, because I need a fence. And if you didn't put the pieces together already, you have now, because she has all this like stolen merchandise in her garage and she's selling stuff for whoever and taking a cut. And there's a bit where one of Tammy's kids interrupts them. And then Debbie's like, how do you explain this all to your husband? And she's like, eBay.
I love that line.
And that's our 7th. All right, so the gang's all here. The whole gang rolls into the loft where Debbie and Lou are going to give a presentation on the heist, complete with projector. And they got a nice full-scale model of the Met, which is super fun. And we cut to all of them around the projector, and Debbie starts saying, we would like to present you all with a hypothetical situation. Amita says, how hypothetical? And Lou goes, not very, unless we screw up. And that hypothetical situation is $16.5 million in each of your bank accounts 5 weeks from now. And there are appropriate gasps from the crowd. Mm-hmm. And Debbie explains the con. They're going to use the Met as cover to rob the Toussaint from Daphne Kluger, who will be wearing it on loan from Cartier. And I appreciate here that also that Amita recognizes the Toussaint immediately.
Yeah, she knows her stuff.
Yeah, they show a picture of it, and yeah, competence porn.
Yeah.
She knows her stuff. Debbie finishes with, go home, get your affairs in order, because tomorrow we begin pulling off one of the biggest jewelry heists in history. Oh yeah, baby. Let's go. So now we have a fun little scene with Debbie and Constance, and we open on Debbie arguing over the phone with someone trying to get access to a bank account, but she doesn't want to make a withdrawal. She wants to make a deposit. Do you not remember this part?
I remember this part, but I can't remember why she was doing this.
Oh, well, I'll fill you in later.
Yeah, please, because I'm like, wait.
Yeah,
she wants this factor in.
She's basically trying to get access to the account. She doesn't want to make a withdrawal. She wants to make a deposit. Do you remember?
Yeah, now I do.
So file that. The rest of y'all who are keeping up, file that one away for later.
That's subtle.
It was subtle. It's really subtle.
Okay.
I did not notice that until maybe the third watch through. Yeah, it's real good. But Constance rolls in with her skateboard under one arm. And she's like, oh, hey, I was wondering, can I get a Metro card? Because I'm skateboarding in from Queens like every day. And Debbie's like, I don't have a Metro card. And Constance is like, what are you, a tourist? Debbie just kind of like laughs and hands her a 20. And Constance is like, seriously? But she goes to leave. But before she does, she sees Danny's picture on the table. And she's like, is that your brother? He's hot. You sure he's dead? And Debbie's like, No. So just another reminder of like, we still don't know. And Constance just dips. She got her subway money for the time being. And yeah, it's a funny and like possibly very off the cuff scene.
Yeah.
Like the way, I mean, I feel like the way Awkwafina delivers most lines comes off as like, I'm just making this up.
Yes. That is 100% her style.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what comes to mind, at least for me in this scene, is sort of like the slice of life of it all. Of just like the monotonous day-to-day stuff and the way that they interact with each other on a more casual basis as things are going on. And it adds to the larger world that's being created within this. And I think it's part editing, part writing, part necessity. Of there's so much that they had to pack into this movie that there's a lot of scenes that are happening in between the scenes that are missing. And there's a lot of like references sort of to that. And it helps add like there is a larger story that's going on here. And these people are bigger than this story, but we don't have time to tell it.
Right. And there are a lot of potential dynamics. I think that's one of the things I noticed about the scene too.
So much life into the movie.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Like, yeah, I feel like this scene makes you think about, I mean, Debbie's the leader, so she's kind of communicating with everybody.
Yeah.
But like you kind of think about like in real life, these two would never cross paths. You know, they're so different. But in this case, they're talking and it makes for a funny conversation.
Yes.
And yeah, just constantly questioning whether Danny Ocean is really dead or not, just in case. Okay. So Cartier, baby, we move along. Tammy gets a 3D printer that can print stuff out of zirconium so they can duplicate the necklace and replace the real one. And to do that, Rose needs to use these special scanner glasses to get a full schematic of the real Toussaint. So we
essentially like a 3D image.
More or less, yeah. We cut to the front of Cartier headquarters over a hip hop track called Bossy by Kellis and Too Short. And it's like, it's a vibe. We show a bunch of different elaborate jewelry pieces with this very like interesting kaleidoscope effect around the edge. I remember us talking about this when we were watching it.
And there's a part of me that's pretty confident that Ocean's 11 does something similar to when they're doing like a B-roll montage.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't tell you exactly.
With like an effect around the edge of the frame? Interesting.
Or something fancy kind of happening.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Cool. Yeah, I haven't watched it in a minute.
It's been a while, but it's part of the stylized editing of it all.
Absolutely.
And the glamour that it's trying to portray.
Yeah, the vibes are vibing. So we go to Rose and Amita meeting with the Cartier people. Here's another pairing that you would never expect. Rose, Helena Bonham Carter, and Amita, Mindy Kaling. On the surface,
they're from two different worlds.
They're from completely different worlds, and they would never interact. Also, I feel like you don't think about even Helena Bonham Carter and Mindy Kaling interacting as like their real life selves. Clearly they have. But anyway, so yeah, I love the contrast of personalities, but how everyone still kind of meshes. So
yeah, that's a good point, because even all the actresses are from different like walks of not Hollywood but industry. You know, like Mindy Kaling, I think of like comedy and like sitcoms and
all
stuff
like
that.
Varying levels of experience. And
Helena Bonham Carter, I think of more like high, what's the word I'm looking for?
I think of like horror like, I don't, Sweeney Todd.
Good point.
Bellatrix.
Point is, all the characters, just like the actresses, are from different parts of the industry, and yet because they're all bringing in their own experiences,
it works out. So they're meeting with the Cartier people about the Toussaint, and the Cartier guy they're meeting with is trying to show them other necklaces. And he's like, we wouldn't even know how to insure the Toussaint. It's a logistical nightmare, basically. And Rose just seems kind of lost for a second until Amita like whispers something in her ear. And then she's like, right, we were very clear on the phone. We only came to see the Toussaint. So they go to meet an even more stuffy French guy. And he's like, no, it would still need its own security team, like all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. Basically, sorry, but the answer is no. And for a second, neither Amita or Rose know what to do. They're kind of sitting there like deer in the headlights. But then Rose steps up and she's like, look, I gotta be real with you. I've always loved Cartier, but there is a whole generation out there who can't pronounce your name. And the guy's like, well, French can be difficult. You know, he's got an accent. And in French, she's immediately like, no, not really. And she gives like a little speech which amounts to, look, you can be irrelevant in this day and age, or you can like reignite the passion for Cartier by bringing this necklace out of your vault and showing it off at the Met Ball on Daphne Kluger.
Yeah.
And Amita's expression, Mindy Kaling's expression, like looking at her throughout this whole scene is like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I had the same expression.
Yeah. Because A, she can't speak French. But also like Rose just like steps up. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like she's kind of the ditzy one.
Yeah. She's so frazzled all the time.
Yeah.
And she's so insecure.
Yeah.
That to suddenly be like, nope. All right. It's my turn.
Right.
And
Like,
again, is competent at it.
exactly. It's the competence part.
Yeah. But she was so insecure in everything else.
Yeah.
That like, okay. All right.
And
she does have
just
a role to play.
Comes
and she
up
can
with
do
this
it.
on the fly.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. And then, yeah, at the end of the scene, Amita's just like, we. So that's kind of like a classic joke we throw in there. We go down into the vault. So we get to see the Cartier vault. And this was filmed at Cartier, by the way.
Oh, really?
Apparently. Yes. I don't know if this actual vault is like 50 feet underground or whatever, but apparently it's a real Cartier location, presumably in New York. And they get out the Toussaint and unveil it in its red velvet box. And both Amita and Rose are like mesmerized by the diamonds for a second. And I don't blame them because that's a shitload of diamonds. But then Rose puts on the scanner glasses. But there's no signal down in the vault. And back at the loft, all the girls are like huddled around Nine Ball and her Rihanna computer and like tippy tapping on the computer, like waiting for the scan to come in. It's very quiet during the scene. And finally, Amita kind of gets a look behind the glasses, which like say no signal in big red letters so that we could see it. And she says to one of the Cartier guys, she's like, oh, it's really secure down here, huh? And the guy's like, yeah, 5 feet of solid concrete. So that's why they're not getting a signal.
Yeah, that'll do it.
And now it's Amita's turn. So she turns to Rose and just goes, you wanted to see it in the light. And like points her thumb upstairs. And then Rose is like, oh, yes, the light, the natural light. That's vital. I must have the sun.
She does such a good job as coming off as like this eccentric weirdo.
Which, as far as I know, is not that far off from Helena Bonham Carter herself. So it really works out. But yeah, like the line, I must have the sun. And then Amita's like, she must have the sun. It's like such an underrated comedy moment. And it's hilarious. And it really feels like they're making it up as they go along.
It all comes down to the delivery, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Mindy Kaling and Helena Bonham Carter, like underrated comedy duo.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
It's because they're both so comedic, too, in their own way.
That's true.
Yeah, there's something about them together that just clicks.
That's true. Helena Bonham Carter kind of does everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we go upstairs. And we're scanning the diamonds, and there's a whole thing where she's like scanning the necklace, and we get like a helpful blue color progress bar filling in the necklace to like show us how much is being scanned. And the music is like heisty suspense music, but she's just like looking at this thing, like kind of trying to get different angles on it. The Cartier guy is like, is she okay? And Amita's like, she's fine. This is her process. She's an artist.
Deep in her process. Leave her alone.
And we're just like cross-cutting to the rest of the girls around the computer, like watching the scan progress. And they're like, nope, little to the left, like just get around there. And the scan finally completes and like everyone cheers. And Rose is like, I am done. Yeah, it's a great scene. So much fun. I love the different pairs we get all the time with all the different ladies. So yeah,
I
like
love
I said
the
before,
chaos of it too, which is part of the energy of this movie is there's so much chaos.
But like controlled chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get the sense that it could all easily spin out of control.
Yes.
But it's not going to because Debbie's in charge and like everything is under control.
Yeah.
Like the plan is the plan.
This scene is enigmatic of that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So now we go to Rose and Daphne in a fitting session for the dress for the Met Ball. And Daphne is wearing like a safety pin mock-up of the Toussaint. And she's like, I don't know how I feel. Like, I don't think it's working. And she almost goes into like a full on panic attack.
Yeah.
Like freaking out about how she looks. She's super insecure. And Rose is like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, look, you've got one of the most beautiful necks on the planet. And like, you're one of the only people who can pull this off. You're going to be a star. And Daphne, Anne Hathaway, slowly calms down and is like, thank you. And to me, this is like, this could have been a throwaway scene. Mm-hmm. This could have been cut, I feel like. But Anne Hathaway kills it.
Yeah.
This in like this panic attack scene. And I think we're also showing Rose being more and more competent as we go along as well. Like she handles
She's starting to gain her confidence.
She's starting to get her confidence back.
Yeah.
Because she was totally destroyed by this like horrible fashion show that she had and like thinking she was going to go to jail and like her life is over and all that stuff. And yeah, so she's kind of recovering from that.
Yeah.
And she totally handled this. And like in fairness, this is kind of her wheelhouse. Like she's probably handled people like this, models, actresses, whatever.
Oh, for sure.
All the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. And it was like a great little moment of just like women being supportive of each other.
I agree with that. I would also, I disagree with you on one point though.
Oh, what?
I do think this scene is necessary.
Okay.
Because up to this point, every interaction that we have with Anne Hathaway's character, she comes off as incredibly arrogant, like incredibly snooty. She's this out of touch actress. And this scene where she almost has a panic attack over her insecurities.
That's a good point.
Humanizes her so quickly.
Yeah.
And you suddenly build up this sympathy for her. So even though for some of the movie, as it continues to go on, you kind of despise her still because, again, she's still very arrogant.
Yeah.
You know in the back of your head, like, no, there's a very human element to her that I can relate to.
Absolutely. I think the other thing we find about her later is in context of certain things that happen, you start to wonder how much is she acting all the time. Mm-hmm. And how much of her like persona that she's putting on as Daphne Kluger, the actress, is an act and how much of it is her. So I think that goes to this as well.
Yeah, exactly. So in that sense, I do think this scene was necessary because
like
it's helping to build up Daphne's character, which is necessary for later.
True facts. Okay. Cool. There's also a cute little cutscene here where Constance teaches Amita how to use Tinder.
Oh, yeah.
Which
was cute.
Again, you could say throwaway scene, but yeah, I think it's just to kind of show team bonding, you know. But yeah, now we're gonna case the Met. So, this is our oneer. This is our one shot.
Oh
yeah, no cuts for about 2 minutes.
Oh, this was so okay.
Go. So to go into the scene, we do like a quick slideshow of all these pieces of art that are centered around women in the Met, and we stop on Debbie looking at a painting in the Met. And this is where our oneer starts. So,
and if you don't know what a oneer is,
go ahead.
It's essentially a long take. You're not cutting. And I forget what the length of time has to be exactly for it to be considered a long take, but they're not often used in cinema because they're incredibly challenging to do.
Yeah.
You're moving the camera, you're having to adjust the focus as you go, and oneers can get very boring and dull if they're not done well.
Yeah.
There needs to constantly be movement and action and engagement with what's going on.
Or if you're not doing those things, it has to be very intentional.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So oneers, like Spielberg is really good at them.
Yeah.
They're very selective in their use. And they're so cool when they're done well.
Yeah.
And we didn't even, like, I think you called it out at like halfway through the one where you were like, oh my God, they haven't cut yet.
We haven't cut yet.
We had to rewind and we started a stopwatch.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. And I think it's about 2 minutes flat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Go into it.
Cool. Okay. So Debbie's looking at the painting. Oneer starts. We follow Debbie into another room in the Met where the huge Founding Fathers painting is hanging.
Like the Washington crossing the Delaware?
Yes. Yeah. And then we switch focus. So we haven't cut, but we switch focus to Tammy, Sarah Paulson, coming in from the other direction on the other side of the room. And we switch focus from Debbie to Tammy. And Tammy goes up to the security guard and is like, can you help me get to Oceana? She's also doing like a little Southern accent here.
She's a little lost Southern belle.
Because why not? And the security guard's like, sure, ma'am, starts explaining where to go. But then there's like a commotion across the room. And you just kind of start to hear people's voices getting louder. So now we pick up on the security guard.
Yeah, we change focus.
Yep. Pan around and follow him to the miniature beside the painting. Like a lot of times when you go to art museums, there'll be like a large painting and then they'll show you like the little artist like mock-up of it basically next to it. So we zoom in on the miniature beside the painting, which has been replaced with a version of that painting with all women. And that's our winner.
It's like, I think it's famous women from paintings, because I know I forget the name of the painting, but it's like the French Liberation painting with the woman who's like half nude holding up the flag.
Yeah.
So she's in there, and I didn't catch the other ones.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure it's different famous women from different famous paintings.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, it's a great use of camera.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. And I noticed this.
It's like a good use of the one or two, because it's the sleight of hand, right? It's the same thing with the Monty game that she was playing earlier. Like, you're watching her hands do one thing while someone else is doing something else.
Good call.
That's the point of the oneer here.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's like the switching focus between different characters.
Yeah, it's the magic trick. You're watching this while I'm actually doing something else.
Exactly. Basically,
and again, that's why oneers are intentional.
Yeah, they have to be.
They serve a purpose for the plot of the movie and for the storytelling.
Right. So that's us gushing about that. We hear news broadcasts and radio broadcasts saying that it was Banksy, this like stunt that was pulled. It was Debbie, in case that wasn't clear. We open on a meeting room where the Met Museum guys are meeting with the security system guys, who are contractors. And museum guys are like, how could this happen? And security guy, head honcho, is like, sir, we're just a little more concerned with keeping things in than keeping things out. I put a side eye emoji on there. Outside, Constance lifts an ID off a cleaning staff lady walking out of the building, passes it off to Rihanna / Nineball.
Who's dressed in like janitor.
Yeah, like full coveralls.
Clothes, yeah.
Yeah. So she takes the ID, walks into the building, totally yoinks another janitor's like cart situation, and he's polishing the floors and like has headphones on and doesn't notice. And she takes it upstairs to where the security meeting is happening. And she opens the door and is like, hey, want me to get your trash? And they're like, sure, whatever, just do it and leave. And she sticks the little bug on the back of the trash can. And the team hears that they're going to do a full audit of the security system and update anything that needs to be changed, which means now the team, aka Nineball, can go in and move some security cameras around to create a blind spot where they can nab the Toussaint during the Met Ball.
Yeah.
And where's that spot? Outside the women's bathroom.
Yeah, and the whole point, too, of them rehauling the security system is so they can put the blind spot in without anybody noticing that they've changed the layout.
Right, because they're already making
adjustments.
Other changes.
How are they going to notice someone else hopping in? Yeah.
And they're going to make changes very slowly over a certain amount of time. So Debbie and Lou are explaining all of this back at the loft again with the projector up and ladies all lounging around. Another fit check. What Cate Blanchett is wearing is like a black, almost straight leg pants, but slight flare at the bottom, and a yellow button-up shirt with sleeves rolled up, but not like bright yellow, like my wall yellow kind of, but a little bit darker.
Okay, yeah.
And a black vest over the shirt. Again, all the jewelry. She's always blinged out. And then also a tie, not like a regular tie.
Yeah.
But she's wearing the tie, like she has the shirt open at the collar and like a few buttons unbuttoned, and has a tie on under the shirt.
Yes.
Like tucked in under the shirt, almost like a necklace. And I don't know what it is, but it's like the most interesting look.
It's a choice.
It's a choice.
Again, shout out to the costume department, because
and it's like slightest 70s vibe almost, but still like super chic. Also gives me the slightest Han Solo sort of feel.
It's the best.
Who is also a smuggler. And I don't know. It's very good. She looks great.
Yeah.
So anyway, they're going to nab the Toussaint in the bathroom, but anyone seen exiting the bathroom is going to get seen on the security cameras. So we get a mule. Debbie asks Constance how much room she would need to plant the Toussaint on the mule. And she says, 9 feet. And how long to create a 9-foot blind spot to Nineball? 10, 12 days. Okay, cool. We're in business. And then, yeah, I'm not going to go into the whole scene, but Nineball hacks the security system because one of the guys on the team loves Wheaties, as in the dog breed Wheaties.
Yeah. Again, social engineering.
Yeah.
She's able to.
She sends him a clickbait link.
Phishing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he clicks the link and she gets in that way. It's a type of convenient plot point I love.
Yeah. But I mean, true facts, most hacking is that
simple.
Yeah. It really truly just comes
cheesy.
down to human behavior. It's the easiest way to hack anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the whole time she's like, oh, you poor man.
Yeah.
And yeah, then we get Tammy goes undercover at Vogue, who puts on the actual Met Gala. And the lady.
I didn't know that.
I believe so. Yeah.
Oh.
Because, what's her name? The head bitch in charge. What's her name? Anna Wintour, who's in charge of Vogue.
I know nothing about the world of fashion, so.
Yeah, but they put on the Met Gala.
Got it. Okay, cool.
And the lady hiring her as an event coordinator says she's almost overqualified for the role. And Tammy responds with, well, how can anyone be overqualified for the Met Gala? And the lady's like, gala. It's gala. And we were talking about this while we were watching. And I feel like this was intentional. Mm-hmm. Like as soon as the interviewer lady was like, oh, you're overqualified.
Yep.
She made this choice to say the word wrong so that she would seem just slightly less intimidating.
It's perfect.
Yeah. It's perfect. It's like a tasteful choice and it's very subtle.
It's almost the implication of someone who's so qualified and yet still like she's almost above the Met Gala, but because she doesn't know who the Met Gala is well enough to pronounce it right.
Well, yeah, and I feel like it's about making this lady feel like she's still superior.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's about the power and the control.
Yep. And I also I feel like this is a good place to say this. I also love that just about everyone is doing a little bit of grifting on this heist. I think Constance is the only one who doesn't because she's only thievery.
Yeah.
Basically everyone else has to do a little bit of acting.
Yeah, I think you're right.
To get their way through. So yeah. We also cut real quick here to the real Anna Wintour watching a tennis match on her computer, so that's fun. But then Tammy gets led to a cubicle, passing the Met Gala seating chart on her way. She doubles back and scans the seating chart with the scanner glasses. We love a reusable prop. And we're still snapping along, baby. So back with the girls looking at the seating chart on the projector. And they've got Daphne as close as possible to the bathroom without looking suspicious. But wait, there's an open seat next to her. Who's that? It's for her date. Who's her date? Lou asks. And Debbie immediately says, I don't know. And here, like, this shot, I watched this like 7 times to figure this out. But here's some framing for you. Because in the shot where she says this, and then it cuts to another scene, but Debbie's in the middle, Lou's on her left behind her, right? So partner in crime on her left behind her. Tammy's on her right behind her. And as soon as she says, I don't know, if you're watching the two in the background, you immediately see Tammy look confused and like look from Debbie to Lou. Like, why are you lying right now?
Yeah.
And Lou does a double take at Debbie. And she doesn't seem surprised, but like she's clocked that something's wrong, like something's off.
Hidden motivation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just a very interesting little bit of character work. And it's like that. Mm-hmm. It's like so fast. But, you know, if you're me and this is like the 10th time you're watching this movie, I don't know. It's really good. And it's going to feed into some stuff that happens a little bit later.
God damn, I can totally see why like you've wanted to talk about this movie for so long, because this is some shit we would have watched in one of my comm arts classes and had to write an essay about.
Really?
Yeah. This would have been the type of stuff we would have talked about for like a week straight in class, being like, all right, let's talk about this film technique and pull up a scene from Oceans.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I wish.
1,000%.
Dude,
There's so much on this.
If I could have written a fucking essay about this movie.
Yeah, you could have written like a couple of college lectures about this.
Absolutely.
God damn.
So we go to Tammy in the Vogue office, and she has the guest list for the chairman's pre-gala dinner. And who's on that list? Claude Becker is on that list. And Tammy called his publicist, who was into it. She barely had to ask. what's going on there? So we transition right to the dinner, and Becker sidles up to Daphne, like, oh, they put me next to you. Lucky me. Like instant flirting. And they get chummy, and Tammy is on the phone in the background, and she's like, the ego has landed.
That one got such a big laugh out of me. It's so cheap.
You laughed pretty hard at that.
I was
I was surprised.
It's the little things.
Yeah. But yeah, nice. So presumably she was talking to Debbie. And we cut to Tammy and Debbie back at the loft, which I think in the bathroom, like they cut to this room a lot, and I think it's the bathroom. But they never really, like it's hard to kind of tell. But I feel like I do feel like it's the bathroom, and I feel like that's intentional because it's very like girls hanging out, dishing gossip sort of
like
situation.
While doing their makeup and hair.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like that. So
it's definitely like this movie celebrates female relationships,
really
and
does.
that's part of it.
It's beautiful.
Like, yeah,
it's awesome.
You keep going.
Okay,
you keep going off. I'm loving this.
Yeah. So now we finally get the backstory of how Debbie went to prison. So Tammy's like, how did you ever fall for this guy? And Debbie says, well, Lou and I were going through a rough patch. Very relationship coded language, but moving along. And I really wanted a big score of my own. So long story short, they ran a scam where she posed as an art buyer to drive up the price on his art. And it worked. Money was good. He was great in the kitchen. One day he asked her to pose as the seller, not the buyer. And they got caught by the feds. And you see her wearing the dress. She walked out of prison in the beginning of the movie. They get taken in for interrogation. She doesn't say anything because she's not a goddamn snitch. Mm-hmm. But he immediately flips on her.
This is what happens when you work with amateurs.
Amateurs and assholes.
Yeah.
And yeah, some really nice, subtle facial acting from Sandra Bullock here when they tell her in the interrogation room that he's flipped on her. Yeah. Like, I can't even... micro expressions, right? Like I can't even tell you really what happens on her face, but it's a subtle change.
Yeah, it's this. For me, I read it as like, oh, this motherfucker doesn't know the storm he's unleashed. Like the long con has begun.
Well, interesting. I read it just as dread, like fuck, like oh shit, I'm fucked.
Yeah,
but probably very shortly thereafter, she was already plotting her revenge.
I mean, it's just, it's like, well, this guy can play the short con. Just watch.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to get into the drama, okay? So we fade cut to Lou looking at the seating chart again, where now Claude Becker's name is filled in beside Daphne Kluger. And boom goes the dynamite. She looks pissed. So she gets up, and without a word, like a couple of the other girls are in there, and they're like watching her leave, but she don't say nothing. She's real mad. And, but real quick, fit check again, because, again, banger outfit. Shiny red boots, skin-tight leather pants, black vest buttoned up with the tie thing again, bomber jacket over the top with silver and red accents and some kind of, like, embroidered design on the back.
I mean, how is she allowed to exist this cool, like, being this cool?
Honestly.
It needs to be illegal.
Like, we have to move on
so
because
awesome.
Otherwise, like, I'm just going to sit here with my jaw on the floor. But anyway, she goes outside, and we cut to Debbie, who's sitting by the water, what I assume is the Hudson River. Mm-hmm. And Lou just like power walks over to her and is like, we need to talk. Tension is already like up here. And she's like, you better tell me this isn't what I think it is. And diegetic sound, there's like a horn blaring in the distance from like a ship or something.
Yeah.
So nice sound design choice there. And Debbie's immediately like, what? Lou's like, Claude Becker. And Debbie's like, I didn't do that. Which, big red flag, yo, because that is a straight up lie. I guess technically Tammy did it.
Yeah.
But still. But anyway, the camera pans around on them. They're facing each other in profile, right? Water behind them, sun shining down. It's kind of a beautiful shot, but they're like facing off.
Yeah.
So there's an interesting bit of contrast there.
And it's just an interesting choice too of like setting.
Yeah. And again, like in another context, almost romantic.
Yeah.
But like not in this one. Mm-hmm. And sorry, were you gonna say something?
No, keep going. I'm gonna wait till the scene's done.
Okay, cool. And so they're facing off, and Lou's like, cut the bullshit. I'm not a tourist. You don't con me. and you don't run a job in a job. And Debbie's like, it's not going to matter. And Lou's like, we're going to get caught. And she's like, no, stop it. We're not. And then Lou's like, you frame him, I walk. And Debbie's still like, stop it. Come on. Like, she's not really taking this seriously, but Lou's really mad. And then she says, this is just like last time. Oh,
what happened there?
This is juicy.
Yeah.
I want to know what happened so bad.
This is what happened in their rough patch.
Yeah, right? Exactly. But we don't say because subtext. Okay. But Lou drops that and then she walks away. But Debbie follows her and is like, Lou, he sent me to jail. You have no idea what that's like. And she kind of nods and like, she's still mad. It almost
feels like the first moment in this movie where Sandra Bullock's character is finally being really vulnerable about what happened to her.
And I wanted a little bit more,
to
be honest. But I'm going to get that to that in a sec. So yeah, he sent me to jail. You have no idea what that's like. And yeah, she kind of like, Lou kind of nods and like, it's like, seems to kind of understand for a second, but she's still pissed. So then she says, well, he's going to do it again. And Debbie's just like, no, he's not. And that's where we leave it. So yeah, I think, go ahead.
Sorry. You can, I want to hear what you have to say.
All right. So yeah, I think this is a great scene. The tension's great. The acting's great. I definitely feel Lou's frustration and like her almost losing it for a second.
Yeah.
Because this secret has been kept from her and it's a pattern that they seem to have.
And it's not just that too, because obviously that's why she's pissed, but there's an additional threat. Naturally, like, what's her name? Debbie?
Yeah.
Sandra Bullock?
Yeah.
She has a motivation to frame him.
Yeah.
That can be used against them if, like, all of this stuff, like, there's going to be an investigation afterwards.
Yeah.
She has motive.
Mm-hmm.
And
big motive.
A huge motive.
Yeah.
And that throws a ton of, like, suspicion on then, whatever his name is.
Claude Becker.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Being the actual, like, robber or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, it's not just that. I mean, I think the personal part of the relationship of her being lied to is the bigger deal.
Yeah.
But there's also the threat that's being added to the heist.
Well, yeah. And like, she straight up says, like, he's going to send you back to jail.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to happen again. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the worst case scenario.
She can't see a way that they could pull it off to frame him.
Right.
And frankly, at this point in the movie, I'm on her side with that.
Yeah. Well, and like, this is very shady on Debbie's part. And yeah, this is a bad idea, but we're doing it anyway because stakes.
Yeah. Raise the stakes, baby.
Yeah. That
Writing
said,
101.
Yeah, that said, I wish there was a little bit more here, like leaning into their relationship, their friendship, whatever's going on with them. And yeah, I think you, like what you said, I wanted just a little bit more emotion or vulnerability from Debbie. Like, she's almost like always up here, like on top of things.
She's untouchable.
Yeah.
And this is a moment where that illusion is broken down.
Yeah, exactly. And even in the breaking down though, she's still kind of cool, calm, collected.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't really get into anything. And she's kind of stonewalling Lou here. Like, she's like, this is my plan and we're doing it.
Yeah. And it's because it almost feels like there isn't a payoff entirely for this because there's this tension between them. It's just resolved. There's never a reason it's resolved. It's just resolved.
Yeah. Good point. Eventually, obviously Lou comes around.
Yeah.
Which again, we have somewhat set this up already, that this is kind of how their relationship works a little bit. Like, Debbie has a plan and then like kind of cajoles Lou into it, and then like something else happens and she cajoles Lou into it. So
because in a way she's conning Lou as well.
Yikes.
It's true though, right?
Yeah.
Like, Lou even kind of calls it out. Like, this is what you do. You give me just enough that I'm intrigued. Mm-hmm. She cons Lou.
Yeah. And actually, I didn't say that.
Part of their dynamic.
Yeah. I didn't say the extra dialogue in the scene, but she does have a line where she's like, why do you always do this?
Yeah.
Like, you hold stuff out for me.
It's almost as if she doesn't know another way to, like,
she's a control freak.
Yeah.
She's a control freak.
This is the only way she knows how to operate in life is to con.
And she has trust issues.
Yeah. Well,
big ones.
That's fair.
I mean, but she shouldn't with Lou. But I think she anticipates, she like is playing the argument out in her head already that they're currently having.
Yeah.
She's already played it out in her head before this. So yeah, along the lines of like a little bit more vulnerability thing, I feel like there was an easy add here in the dialogue of like, he sent me to jail. You have no idea what that's like. And then Lou could be like, well, you have no idea what it was like for me either.
Yeah.
Like, I was waiting for you. And that, you know, we can leave it there.
Something that they both had an emotional stake in what happened.
Yes. And like, that can imply they have a close friendship. That could imply something else if you wanted to. And then like, you basically have an opportunity there to cut back to Debbie with just more of an emotional expression. Like, we don't even have to say anything else.
And it would also add depth too to like Cate Blanchett's character, even just like, it's not that she doesn't want to go to jail. It's that she can't,
doesn't want her to go to jail.
She couldn't bear seeing her best friend in jail again.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And that's the stakes. And I think especially
one line.
And by the way, this movie's under 2 hours. This movie clocks in at like an hour 45.
You're welcome that we've talked longer than the movie.
And we're not even at the con yet.
I know.
We're not even at the heist. We might do this in 2 parts.
Hey, Twister is just as long as this, so.
Yeah. But yeah, we could have had a little more here. And maybe in other places as well. Especially considering like this is probably your biggest emotional connection to the movie is them. So why
this
wouldn't
is
you?
like one scene that you can actually flesh out the dynamic a bit more.
And like just a little bit.
Yeah.
Doesn't need much.
Yeah. Because that's part of the challenge with an ensemble cast is you have so many different people to focus on and like grow their character and stuff. Like, it's nice to have that anchor.
Yeah.
So take the time with the anchor.
Yeah, and I think if you would have fleshed this out a little bit more, it then also would have made their, you know, the partnership and like the heist going off later and like them being super solid together, it would have made that even more impactful.
Exactly.
So yeah, we move on.
Are we moving on from the scene? Because I have one more thought.
Hit me.
All right. I don't think it's as profound as what we just discussed, frankly. But this is very similar to a beat in Ocean's 11 between Brad Pitt and George Clooney.
Yes.
Because I think Matt Damon's character goes to the casino first to see the owner of the Bellagio's girlfriend.
Yeah.
And so Matt Damon doesn't know who this girlfriend is, but he starts describing her to Brad Pitt, and Brad Pitt, light bulb goes off. Yeah. That's the ex-wife.
Right. That's Tess.
Yeah. And so he corners George Clooney to confront him about this, and they have a very short dialogue together. And again, it's been a while since I've seen it. Yeah. But it's a similar thing of like, you can't do this. You're going to fuck up the heist by trying to get Tess back. What are you doing? Right. You're risking everything. Yeah. And George Clooney
take him off the con.
Yeah, exactly. They take him off the con, so he has an alibi. Yeah. Right?
And then, you know, it turns out to be part of the plan.
It is. It's baked into the heist itself. It's all a part of it. But I like the sort
of
parallel here. Yep. Because instead of, it's still a romantic thing that happened. That's the hidden motivation. Yeah. But what like the outcome is, what they want, is completely different. And frankly, I think it's better this way because Tess's character in the original Oceans, if we ever talk about Ocean's 11, I can go off on like, it's a perfect movie except for Tess's character. Oh. Because she is simply reduced to a game piece, right? Yeah. Whereas Claude Becker, sure, he's a bit of a game piece, but he feels like a character. Mm. And so I kind of...
And he has history.
Yeah.
We share the history.
Tess just feels like a trophy.
Yeah, a little bit.
And this feels, I don't know, it just feels better. It feels more satisfying and rich.
I agree. Yeah. I agree 100%. And does she come back in the other movies or no? Julia Roberts?
I have no idea.
Is she in 12 and 13?
I'll be honest, I haven't seen them.
You haven't? Oh my God.
Mm-mm. I know.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I know. I'm sorry.
I mean, I haven't seen them in ages, but I have seen them.
I even forgot they existed, if I'm being totally honest.
Oh, no.
I'm so sorry.
Well, there will be a movie marathon in our future. Okay.
Hey, there's always a movie marathon in our future. What are you talking about?
That's true. Add it to the list. Okay. Final touches. So now I'm going to breeze through some stuff.
Yep.
Thank God.
Fire away.
Debbie walks through the museum with 9-ball, monitoring on security cameras to see where the blind spot is. It's, of course, 12 feet as requested. At Vogue, Tammy gets them to bring in a nutritional specialist, which will be played by Lou.
Sorry, real quick. I was taking a drink of water there. 12 feet. They requested 9 feet.
Yeah, so she over-delivered.
She did. Under promise, over deliver, baby.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Nutritional specialist, which will be played by Lou. We see Lou at a toy store grab an underwater explorer remote control toy. No context.
No context.
Nothing. But again,
a scene that you forget about until it suddenly becomes relevant.
So put that in your back pocket. And then back at the loft, Tammy passes out black garment bags to all the girls. Also TBD on that. And
that was so, I was like, I can't wait.
Seriously. You know what it is. You know it's all their dresses.
Their Met costume.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So now we cut to a tour led by Daphne Kluger through the Met Costume Institute display that is inspiring this year's Met Ball, the exhibit. And it's shot like a Vogue 73 Questions video.
Oh my God, I hate those videos so much. And yes, it's shot like that.
But it's a choice. It was a choice.
It is.
And I think it makes sense for this, obviously. She's like pointing stuff out as they walk through the exhibit, and the interviewer's like, oh, what's this? And she's like, these are the crown jewels from 8, note the number, royal families of Europe. Right?
I'm sorry, y'all. I just did the most exasperating gesture I could possibly do because I did not clock that.
I mean, I didn't clock it until my second watch through of this for my notes. Yeah. She says crown jewels, probably why there's a moat. There's like water around the exhibit. And the interviewer's lady is like, can we go over there? And she's like, oh God, no, but I wish we could. It's like this interesting, subtle moment of like, she covets the jewels also. And again, it's like gone in a flash, but anyway. And anyway, the interviewer keeps like asking her questions, and she's wearing the Toussaint, and how many carats is it? Enough. Yeah. It's a fun little scene.
She's doing this fun little thing too. The whole scene where she keeps, wherever the camera is, she keeps pulling her hair out of the way so they can see her full neck. So
yeah. Which was something you pointed out to me that I never noticed before.
Yeah. So wherever the camera is, like in relationship to her, she's moving her hair out of the way and throwing it to the other side of her neck, or her head, so you can see her full neck. And it calls back to that scene with Helena, where she was like, "No, you have a great neck. You have the only neck in the world that can pull off this necklace."
Yeah.
And like, her leaning into like, "You're right. I have a great neck. Vogue. Look at my neck."
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Just playing into, again, she's insecure,
but also like Anne Hathaway just having the time of her freaking life on this movie. Like, it's so fun. Yeah, and now it's Met Gala day, baby. We see the Toussaint get transported from Cartier to the hotel where Daphne's getting ready. And Rose is there, and she compliments Daphne's lipstick, saying it's pink, like Barbie, but in a good way. Oddly prescient moment there, considering the Barbie fever. That
and Daphne takes it as such a huge compliment.
She's like, thank you.
Thank you. Which is so funny watching it now, because like, it almost reads like, oh no, is she going to be insulted by that?
Right.
But like now, after Barbie's come out,
it's
and
like,
it's back in the zeitgeist. Yeah, we're like, oh my God, that's a great compliment.
Yeah. And we get the necklace, and they open the box, and Daphne's like, holy crap. Because it's 6 pounds of diamonds.
Yeah.
Everyone's just geeking out at this massive diamond necklace. And Daphne tries it on, and she's like making sex noises the whole time.
Yeah, she is.
She's like, oh, wow. Ooh. And diamonds are a girl's best aphrodisiac, I guess. But here's our first little speed bump, because to get the necklace off, the security guys have like a special little magnet device that they have to use that the girls don't have. So Rose is like, oh, wow, that's so interesting. Can I just see that again for professional curiosity? And then she subtly, maybe not so subtly, records the guy on her phone doing the like locking mechanism.
Yeah, she has her phone like down by her hip.
Yeah. Back at HQ, Tammy is giving Debbie her selection of aliases for the evening, and she's going to be Hilda Schneider. And Lou comes in, is like, we got a problem. And Nineball ends up calling her kid sister, who says the mechanism is polymagnets and a spring, which apparently is legit. I heard somebody talk about it.
Seems legit to me.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds legit, so you believe it. And basically, the kid sister whips up the same like unlocking device they have while she's on the subway. So nice. And then we cross-cut between Daphne leaving the hotel to head to the Met in her bright pink gown with the Toussaint on. And we cross-cut to all the girls in all black in a van, also heading to the Met. Everybody's in their, like, cat burglar gear.
Yeah.
There's, like, a nice little sound check scene where they all check their earpieces. Very heisty. I love it. And then they pick up the unlocking thing from Nine Ball's sister. And Debbie's like, what do your parents do? And then we cut and everybody's getting in place. And Debbie does a little pep talk for the team. She's like, you're not doing this for me. You're not doing this for you. Somewhere out there's an 8-year-old girl lying in her bed, dreaming of becoming a criminal. Let's do this for her. And like, she fully believes it.
Again, there's like something meta about this though.
Oh yeah.
Of like, somewhere out there's women who are dreaming of committing crimes. Like, let's encourage them. Like, truly, like, literally the movie industry being like, come on, women.
But I don't know. I like that she has this little pep talk. You feel like she believes what she's saying. Like, it could come off as a joke, but it doesn't. She's serious while she says it.
Yep.
And then like, if you're thinking about it, you're like, oh, because probably that little girl was her.
Yeah.
Once upon a time. Like, if she grew up in this family of Oceans and they're all freaking con artists and robbers of valuable things.
Yeah.
She just wanted to be like her family.
That's true. Mm-hmm. She's just speaking from the heart, from her own personal experience. Yeah.
All right, and we're on. Let's go. Daphne and Rose walk up the Met steps with loads of paparazzi around. Claude Becker is on Daphne's arm. Rose is wearing this crazy flower dress a la Helena Bonham Carter, as you do, and this like headpiece that only she can pull off. It's great. We quick cut to Nine Ball on her computer, monitoring the security cameras in the back of a food truck that seems to be serving like Indian food, maybe?
No, I think it was like gyros.
Was it?
Yeah,
okay.
Because I'm pretty sure there was like the lamb skewer in the back rotating.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Falafel.
Yeah.
Greek food, Mediterranean
stuff.
Street food.
Delicious food. But presumably she's parked somewhere close to the Met. We go back to the Met Ball and we get a bunch of celebrity cameos in quick succession. I believe I spotted Kelly Clarkson, Kim K, Common, Heidi Klum, because of course, Serena Williams. And then we see Debbie check in as Hilda Schneider. And she runs into Heidi Klum real quick and they speak in German for a few seconds. And yes, Sandra Bullock is fluent in German, if you didn't know.
Yeah.
And
I learned this in my German class.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, there was a little blurb about her being like of German descent. And
she grew up when she was a kid, she grew up in Germany for a while. Yeah, and fit check again, her dress is like an incredible 20s inspired black and gold. Black and gold seems to be kind of her.
It's like her thing.
Her thing.
That's her motif.
Yes, but this dress like has a train that you get to see from the back as she walks up the stairs, and it's very good. So, more celebs, more walking upstairs. Rose greets the real Anna Wintour, and Tammy says into her earpiece that they're ready to sit for dinner. And we get a quick shot again of the costume exhibit where all the crown jewels are, just so you remember that that's there. And then Lou is in a like chef/kitchen uniform in the food truck with Nine Ball, and she goes to leave to get in her place as the nutritionist. But then like some random couple knocks on the window asking for food, and she like tries to say they're closed, but they're like, "Come on, man, it's like right there." So she serves them.
I love that too, because there's like this subtle implication that at some point she worked in like a service industry role.
Yeah.
That she's like, all right, fuck it, fine. Like, I'm not gonna argue.
She seems very comfortable in this environment.
Just like, okay,
yeah.
Like I'm gonna switch gears, and I know how to switch gears.
Right. Which again goes to just the competence porn of it all. But good point. She probably did this at some point for one reason or another.
She's way too casual about it.
Yeah, exactly. So Daphne sits down at a table with Rose and Katie Holmes and a couple other celebs. And we see Constance walk behind her in a waiter uniform, like full penguin. And we get a better look at the necklace mechanism real quick. And back to Nine Ball in the truck. So at this point, we're just like, boom, boom,
Lots
boom,
of
boom.
rapid cutting.
Yeah, it's awesome. Back to Nine Ball in the truck, the woman in the van who goes, okay, counting down, 3, 2, 1. I still have no idea what this countdown is for. honestly.
Syncing their watches?
But it sounds fun.
I don't know. Yeah.
Basically, it sounds fun. I guess it's the signal to get the food out to Daphne's table, maybe? Like start the inciting incident of the con. But that's as much as I can tell. We cut to Lou in her nutritionist role in the kitchen, and she's like, I need a gluten-free for table 8. Where's the vegan for table 4? And we see a bunch of dishes, including a soup. And when no one is looking, she drops like 3 drops of something mysterious and black and gooey looking into the dish, and it gets carried out. And the soup arrives in front of Daphne, and she starts chowing down. She starts digging in because she hasn't eaten anything in 3 days to get into the stress. And Rose is next to her looking at her like, oh my God, girl, slow down.
Just like, shit, things are about to pop off quicker than we thought.
Yeah. We cut to Tammy, and Tammy says over comms, she's in deep, maybe half a bowl. Constance goes into the women's bathroom and locks all the stalls from the inside but one, so that Daphne has to run to the very last stall in the bathroom. And it's like a funny overhead shot of her crawling like between the stalls. Yeah. It's nice. Back to Daph, she's regaling her table about how once she was in a curtsy standoff with the Queen of England, but she starts to not feel good real quickly, and she's gonna vom. And she books it from the table to the bathroom. And the music's going crazy during the scene, by the way. It's pretty fun.
And she has, I don't know if we mentioned this, she does have security with her for the necklace.
Yes, yeah. Security guys are with her.
So it's kind of comical as she's sprinting for the bathroom. All of a sudden you see the security guys go like,
they start following her. Yeah.
Like sprinting after her.
Also, how this is shot, like her running to the bathroom, is we see Debbie in the foreground of the shot, like off. She's in front of us.
Names are hard for me. Sandra Bullock.
She's on the side of like where the dinner is happening.
Yeah.
But like in front of us. And we're like focusing on her while Daphne's like in the background running to the bathroom, and like we're watching Debbie watch her and like follow her to the bathroom. So I don't know. It's just like, it's like moving all the pieces on the board.
Yeah.
You know?
And I don't totally remember the scene, but there is something fun though about the movement and the way that the camera moves with the movement that,
absolutely,
like, propels the story forward.
For sure.
It helps with the momentum of what's being told.
Yes, exactly.
There we go. That was articulate.
Yes. No, that was perfect. Yeah, movement for sure. Okay, yeah, we follow her to the bathroom. But Debbie gets there first, and she gets in her spot next to the women's bathroom door, which is near their blind spot. And Daphne goes flying by her into the bathroom. She's just like sipping her champagne, casual. But then the security guards try to follow Daphne into the women's bathroom, and she steps in front of the door and is like, 9, Damen Toiletten,
Damen, nur for Damen.
Yeah, you speak German.
Ein bisschen.
So yeah, and finally, like the security guards decide to wait outside the bathroom, and Deb goes back to her spot, which 9ball says is right at the edge of the blind spot, as in on camera. Interesting. So Daph is hurling her guts out in the bathroom, and Constance comes up behind her. It's like, oh, you poor thing, are you okay? Like waits for her to puke again, and then nabs the necklace with the magnet spring tool thing and stuffs it in her jacket. Yep, cool.
Yeah, also, if you're going to remove 6 pounds off of somebody's neck, they better be hella distracted to not notice that.
Yeah, exactly. This is a great plan.
Yeah, vomiting is probably the only option they had.
She's only focused on one thing. 9ball gives another countdown. This time it's 10 seconds. Tammy sends a busboy with a huge tray of plates into the kitchen. And where's he going to walk? That's right past our bathroom. Debbie kind of steps out in front of him to like fake an oops, I almost ran into you kind of moment, and then redirects the guy into their camera blind spot while Constance comes out of the bathroom, drops the necklace on the tray. Bing, bang, boom.
You got your mule.
Way on fire, baby. 9ball, woman in the van, says, okay, my mule is out. All my ladies still in the dark. And she like claps a pair of tongs together in like victory that were apparently in the back of this actual food truck. Super fun. And there's a minor hiccup where the mule stops, the busboy stops in the service hallway to chat with his buddy about smoking some weed. But they get him moving again. And the busboy brings the dishes to the kitchen. Camera stays on the tray until he's about to put it down. And then you hear, oh, wait, I'll take those. And it's Amita washing dishes, in case you were wondering where she was. So, because I think we've taken stock of everybody else so far except
for her.
Yeah. So she's also in the kitchen, but she's doing dishes. And she dunks the stack of plates with the Toussaint wedged between them into a sink full of dishwater, which gives us the opportunity to do this like sweet underwater shot.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, we show her grabbing the diamonds in the water, and like complete with muffled sound effects and muffled soundtrack, so that you just feel like you're fully underwater also. And then she pulls the diamonds out of the water, sprays them off, is like, bathroom break. Like, tries not to freak out. And this is so good to me. She goes to the bathroom, locks the door, sits down on the toilet, and pulls down what is supposed to be the baby changing station. But it's like somehow they've converted it into like a full workstation for her.
Yeah.
And like a light drops down from it. It's wild.
It's so, and then like there's like an emergency cabinet next to
Yeah.
They've tricked out the entire bathroom.
Yeah. So she reaches over and opens the first aid cabinet, and it's like all her jeweler tools. And she gets to work and starts dismantling the Toussaint.
Fucking cool.
Yeah.
Because it's a normal set. You interact with public bathrooms all the time, every day. And it's so cool to see them take these mundane elements and like take advantage of how mundane they are to be useful for them.
A little bit questionable why there would be a baby changing station.
Absolutely
in this
questionable.
kitchen.
But we're not looking that deep into it.
No. Okay, back to Daphne, who walks out of the bathroom and goes, that was intense. And the security guys are there. They see no necklace on her neck, and they rush past her into the bathroom, but there ain't nothing there. So the whole place goes into full lockdown. And Nine Ball says sealing the exits overcomes, because classic. And we cross-cut to Amita working away, making 7 pieces of jewelry, just destroying the Toussaint with no prejudice. And the police are coming, Cartier are coming, news people are coming, everybody's freaking out. Security guys are questioning Daphne, but she's no help. But, oh no, Nine Ball says there's a guy in the kitchen heading for Amita, and she says she needs more time, but they don't have more time. You don't really believe they're going to get caught, to be honest. But
you got to keep it snappy and intense.
It's some decent suspense.
Yeah.
Debbie's like, Tammy, you got to do it now. Pull it out of the water. We see Tammy pull up her dress to her knee, where she has like the fake zirconium Toussaint strapped to her leg. And we do some quick cross cuts for more suspense. And then Tammy pulls the fake necklace out of the moat and is like, found it. Slight plot hole here, possibly, which is they would have had to replicate that locking mechanism real fast.
Oh, good point.
On the fake Toussaint, but it's fine. We're having too much fun.
Yeah. Damn. Shoot. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
no.
But like you didn't think about it, did you?
No.
I've thought about it because I've watched this too many times. Yeah. So all the guests get funneled back into the event space. Constance joins them along the way. She heads over to Amita, who gives her the 7 jewelry pieces she just made and puts them in various pockets on Constance. Nine Ball exits the truck, aka Rihanna exits the truck, let's be real, in a full-on red satin gown.
It's
just
Rihanna at
just
this point.
Full
like,
Rihanna.
Shit, like
it's the full Rihanna.
Yeah.
She looks excellent. We follow Constance to do a bunch of handoffs to get the diamonds to all the girls. And meanwhile, Debbie accidentally bumps into Claude Becker at the bar, but she doesn't show him her face. And says in German, like, oh, sorry, and then very quietly, good luck. And we get another excellent shot of the back of the dress as she walks away, because what are we here for, honestly? And now we get the iconic scene of all the ladies walking down the Met steps in their dresses, highlighting the diamond jewelry as they go. Here's the lineup. We got Rihanna in the strapless red satin. We got Mindy in this crazy gold sparkle situation. Constance in blue, looking hilariously put out by having to wear this dress. She's the only one who's like not in her bag. Tammy in her understated but sophisticated black sparkle gown with the poofy shoulder sleeves. Rose in her flower gown situation, complete with flower sunglasses. And the woman with the plan, Debbie in the gold and black with the train. These boots are made for walk-ins, play in the background. It's iconic.
It's sexy.
Show-stopping, amazing, beautiful.
This whole scene is just, yeah.
Yeah. It is sexy. It's real sexy. Mm-hmm. But wait, it gets even better because then we cut to Lou leaving on her motorcycle. Yes, that's right. She rides a motorcycle. And
Could she be any cooler?
Could she be any cooler? Aw, man, we didn't get to see Cate Blanchett wearing something equally amazing. But no, they would never do that to us. We've
talked about this when we watched the scene.
We cut to Debbie standing on a street corner, checking her watch, still in her dress. And then from across the street, Lou walks out. Cate Blanchett walks out in a sparkly green, emerald green jumpsuit with a deep V and a slight flare to the pants. And oh my God, they knew they were saving the best for last because, yeah, it's the best one.
Yeah.
It's the best one.
And they knew, I mean, you're giving Cate Blanchett, they knew they had, like...
You had to do it.
Yeah.
You had to do it.
I think I said this when we were watching it. To me, this is like also like the costume department being like, what do you mean we can't dress Cate Blanchett for the Met Gala?
Actually, you know what? I wonder because... The best part about this scene is there is no plot reason for her to do this.
Exactly.
There is no story reason for her to have walk out in the street when they're already out of the Met Ball.
Yeah, they're done with the heist.
Yeah.
They pulled it off.
She was in the kitchen.
It's over.
Yeah.
She was in an outfit already.
She was already gone. But they had to do it.
Yeah. It's just a little fan service.
Yeah, it's amazing. We deserve this. We deserve this moment.
We do deserve this, goddammit.
We deserve to see her walk out in this green number and see the two of them smile at each other and cut. 10 out of 10, no notes. Yeah, anything else?
No.
We're out, fantastic. Baby. We did it. Pulled it off.
Pulled off the heist.
Basically went off without a hitch, which is something I'm going to discuss a little bit later. But
okay, good, because I had thoughts on that too.
Yes. But there's still like a good 25, 30 minutes left of this movie.
Yeah, it's not over yet.
The aftermath. So we did it. But that's not it. What are we going to do? We're going to show the fallout. So we go back to the Cartier vault. Cartier guy number 1 examines the Toussaint, double checks, and then looks up and goes, "Dear God." Props to this guy because I felt his absolute dread at this moment. Mm-hmm. I was like, you're selling this. Thank you. And now, as I mentioned earlier, unfortunately, we see James Corden get out of a taxi in New York. He goes into the Cartier building, and he's an insurance investigator sent by the insurer of the Toussaint to recover their property. Yes, that's right. If you're tracking the leverage parallels here, he's Nate. He's old Nate. I'm just going to leave that one right there. Moving on. He questions the Cartier people and the security guards and the head of security system. And it's all pretty standard. Occasionally amusing dialogue, but I'm actually going to skip that for once. And I did appreciate there was a line, though, from the security system guy where he's like, this is the most sophisticated museum security system in the world. Each piece of art is covered from multiple angles. We just don't happen to keep art in the bathroom. And I was like, yeah. I feel like it just makes the plan seem even more genius when he says that out loud and lays it out like that. But anyway, James Corden, whose character we don't know the name of yet, questions Daphne and shows her a photo of Debbie Ocean, who, as I already mentioned, was intentionally on camera the whole night.
Yes.
And he's like, I got 5 people who should be suspects that are innocent and 1 person who should be a suspect but isn't. Interesting case. Some days I love my job. And Daph goes, I love my job too. Anne Hathaway just eating this shit up. It's so good. Back at the loft, the girls are hanging out, playing music, gabbing, chilling, celebrating their victory. But who rolls in? Daphne busts through the doors and just goes, you guys are fucked. Nice place.
Plot twist.
Yeah, but immediately followed by, nice place. Must be a bitch to heat. Echoing the line from Cate Blanchett earlier.
Just immediately like, hey, she's on the level.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's just staring at her. And Debbie's like, it's fine. We asked her to come. And they're all like, huh? Yeah, we realized a few days ago, we, meaning Debbie and Lou, that Miss Kluger, and Daphne goes, is not a total freaking idiot, might have gotten a sense of what we were doing. And we flash back in true leverage fashion, I might add, to Daphne noticing Rose taking video of the lock mechanism And she almost never throws up, even when she's really wasted. And last but not least, she never forgets a face. And we see her clock Debbie outside the bathroom at the Met as she comes out from puking. So she was doing some heavy lying / acting just now when she was talking to James Corden, because she already knew something was up. Mm-hmm. Deb is like, yeah, so we figured 8 shares of 150 mil is better than 7 shares of nothing. And Daphne is like, besides, I'm the one saving your asses from insurance fraud. And they're all like, what? And Debbie's like, yeah, they've assigned an insurance investigator. It's fine. And Daphne's like, oh yeah, this little Columbo dude, everything but the trench coat. He's totally onto you. And she's got like all the zingers in this scene. And it's great.
It's fun too, because this is the first time where it feels like she actually has personality.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And if you've been wondering this whole time, wait, we only have 7 people. Where's the 8th? Here she is. Yeah. So Debbie goes on to explain, yes, the investigator's name is John Fraser. They're all like, what, you know him? And he's like, yeah, busted my father twice, my brother once. So this is what I was saying before. And the whole time Lou's just like nodding along, and then she goes, he's family. It's a good joke. Debbie all but rolls her eyes and is like, we will not be the prime suspect. Then who will? Well, we got a few, the security guys, the busboy, and finally Tammy chimes in, is like, the shady guy who put you away. And Daphne goes, oh, the boyfriend. And Deb's like, yep, they're going to be looking for somebody. We just had to make sure it wasn't one of us. And we flash back again to her planting a piece of the Toussaint on Claude Becker inside his suit jacket when she bumped into him at the bar.
Quick pause. Yep. Can I just say, this scene is such a fun way to give pipe.
Yes.
Because, like, especially because it's all of them coming onto the same page finally, right?
Yeah.
They're all going to be caught up to speed finally, including us, the audience.
Right.
But then you have this extra person,
well,
Daphne.
almost all up to speed.
Yes.
There's one more reveal.
But then you have like Daphne, who's been an outsider this whole time, and she gets to interject and make her own little commentary
She's like,
on it.
wow, this is so juicy.
Yeah, and it just makes it so much more fun getting all of this exposition.
Yeah, and she like,
you get to revel in the joy of it and the genius of it.
Right, and even with all these women in the room, like Daphne is easily the most dramatic.
Yes.
So for her to have all these like little interjections and asides, it's great. So, yep, she planted a piece of Toussaint on Claude Becker, blah, blah, blah. And, at this point, Lou's like, yeah, it's nice. And Debbie just looks at her back at her and goes, thanks. So, they're totally on the same page, and all is right with the world. We could have had a little bit more setup to get there, but I digress. Finally, Tammy looks at Daphne and is like, why are you doing this? Because she's rich and famous already.
Exactly.
She has no reason. And she's like, well, I don't have that many close female friendships, so I thought this could be something fun to share. And they're like, you're becoming a criminal because you're lonely? And she's like, who isn't sometimes?
Girls would rather do crime than go to therapy.
Do crime, be friends. Okay.
Women standing women, I mean.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So now we're going to frame Mr. Becker. So we get a bunch of older women actresses selling pieces of the Toussaint at various places. And I did find their names because they are Hollywood legends, I would say, in some way or another. So we have Marlo Thomas, Dana Ivey, Mary Louise Wilson, and Elizabeth Ashley. Basically, every one of them, you look at them and you're like, oh, I know you from something. Yeah. I don't know if you remember all the old ladies.
I remember seeing all of them. Honestly, I couldn't place them though.
I felt like I recognized all, and I remember feeling like that in the theater too. Yeah. I was like, oh, I feel like I should know who these women are. So that's who they are. Yeah, they're selling pieces of the Toussaint at various like auctions and whatever. Then we see James Corden, aka John Fraser, questions Claude Becker. I'm not going to go into it, but there is one joke that I think was probably ad-libbed, and credit where credit is due. We both laughed when he said it. Do you remember what it was? Mm-mm. He says something about like, why would this guy who has everything, even 2 of these, and like there's these stupid sculptures in his living room.
And it's the way he delivers it too, that's just so scornful.
Yeah, but also like amused,
Yeah,
bemused.
it's something that can only be delivered in a British accent, frankly.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, it did get a laugh out of me. I was like, you know what?
I'm never going to say he's not a good actor in moments.
He has moments for sure. This was one of them. And yeah, but anyway, he doesn't really get anywhere with his questioning. And we cut to Becker in his gallery, and Daphne calls him and is like, hey, what are you doing right now? In like the most, I can't even do it, like the most over the top sexy voice.
Yeah.
Just this shy of believable. But
again, it works because she's so dramatic.
Oh, it totally works. We go to Debbie meeting with Mr. Investigator at a diner. Something about it also looks very New York, I feel like. Mm-hmm. I liked it. And he's like, thanks for calling. I was going to call you. She's immediately like, yeah, I didn't do it. Of course you didn't. You were just on camera 20 feet away while the jewels were being nicked. It's a coincidence. She's like, nope, that's a solid alibi. And he's like, okay, look, I don't even care about you. I don't want you. I'll say I found it in the cab. I just want the necklace. Like insurance investigator, right? Like he don't care. Mm-hmm. He needs to recover.
His job is recovery, and that's it. He don't give a fuck about anything else.
Yes. And she's like, okay, how about some of it? Hypothetically 10%. And where's the rest of it? Oh, I don't know, literally. And she shows him a picture of Claude Becker on her phone. And he's like, oh, it's not just profit, it's revenge. It's a twofer. And at this point, we're like really hammering this home, right? But I'll give it to him. It's a lot of moving pieces. A lot has happened, so drive it home for the people. And she's like, just trying to help out an old friend. And he replies, actually, very interestingly, you know, one day you're going to have to let this go. And she says, this was almost vulnerability from her, I would say. She says, like, very straight on, and one day I will. But, like, implied, not today.
Yeah, not until he's behind bars.
Right, exactly. Okay, fine. He needs probable cause to search Becker's apartment. Well, we're working on that right now. Cut to Daphne, seducing Claude Becker in his apartment. She slaps him, and they start making out on the couch. And then hard cut to her handcuffing him to the bed. Nice symbolism there, I guess. She walks away into his wardrobe room, not a closet.
It's a room.
A whole room. And the music kicks back in. Let's go. She finds the piece of the necklace in the suit jacket he wore to the Met. She puts it on the table with one of his ties and sends the picture to Debbie, who sends it to John, who now has probable cause. So, bing, bang, boom. We're on it. Cut to Becker waking up the next morning, totally out of it. His clothes are everywhere. There's absolutely no trace of Daphne. She is gone.
Yeah.
But she is out.
But she still got some D.
Oh, yeah.
She may be conning, but
she had a good time.
She's going to get hers.
Cops roll in. We cut to him in an interrogation room, not dissimilar to the time we saw him in the flashback, except now he's the one who's fucked. And the cop is questioning him and is like, so besides the piece of the necklace that we found in your apartment, are you familiar with a company called Becker Holdings LLC? Yeah, of course. Well, it seems 4 sweet old ladies who apparently don't exist have recently transferred some large amounts of money into Becker Holdings LLC. Do you know how that happened? And then we like see the old ladies at an auction with Debbie watching from the side, and they're making their cash. And now we finally know why Debbie was on the phone earlier asking for her account information to make a deposit, not a withdrawal. Wham, bam, yes, bam.
It's something that you would never clock on the first watch.
Never.
Ever.
No. Unless you were really paying attention.
Yeah. It's so subtle, so well done. It's one of those things that if you watch the movie once and then you set some time trying to find plot holes, as some people do.
Yeah.
That would be one thing. You'd be like, oh, that's a huge plot hole. How'd that happen?
Right.
And it's no.
Just kidding.
Oh, no. There's something in there for that.
Yeah, exactly. Last scene, y'all. We're almost there. We cut to the girlies toasting Claude Becker. May he rest in peace in prison. But Daphne has a question. If they only sold the Toussaint for $85 million, then how does it work out that they each get $16 million apiece? Mm-hmm. And of course, Debbie and Lou are like exchanging these cute little looks with each other as she's asking this. And Lou goes, oh, you thought we were just going to steal one necklace? What do you think we are, a bunch of pussies?
Yes.
Which is just in there.
Technically the truth.
And then like they alternate back and forth, which I feel like is also a Danny and Rusty, George Clooney, Brad Pitt move as well, like alternating the dialogue as they're explaining stuff. While everybody was worried about finding the Toussaint at the ball, the whole place went on lockdown. And while everybody was watching the entrance, we thought we'd check out the exhibit. That would be the exhibit of European royal jewels that inspired the whole Met Gala theme that year. Cool, 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 cool. Debbie continues, because why would you steal just one necklace when you could steal more? She opens this big metal fridge that's right there, because they're sort of in the kitchen. And a bunch of the royal jewels are in there. And we didn't just print the Toussaint with that 3D printer. We printed a lot of jewels. And Amita goes, I feel like I was working at Kinko's. So I like that she's also in on the plan. And again, she's one of the ones that they knew already from before.
Yeah. So it seems like the people that knew at least most of the plan were those that they've worked with the longest.
Yeah, exactly. So like Amita was in on this part of the plan, and Tammy was in on the part of the plan with Becker to frame him. And everybody else just kind of had their own siloed things.
Yep.
But yeah, it's like a very distinct hierarchy there, which I think is cool. Because, you know, you gotta cover your ass sometimes.
I mean, yeah, exactly. And it's kind of fun because it is setting up, and which we're going to get into, it's setting up that this is a team that could pull off future heist. And part of that is convincing the new people that it's worth staying on.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of, again, it's
well, and like knowing that we can trust them now.
Yes. Exactly. And also the new people knowing they can trust Debbie and Lou.
Yeah.
To pull off a good heist, because if they would have laid out the actual entire
they'd have
heist,
been like, absolutely not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But when they do it and they're okay, here's how the magic trick is done. Now do you trust us?
Yeah. And we did it already. Here you go.
Yep.
Cool. And yeah, so Amita was working at Kinko's, and we learned that Lou decided to visit an old friend, which is Yen from the original Ocean's movies.
Yeah, we get another original cameo.
Yeah, the Chinese acrobat guy.
I lost my mind at this one.
Yeah,
I was so excited to see him.
Yeah, it was fun. And we see them smuggle him into the exhibit in a kitchen cart, kind of calling back to Ocean's 11 when they put him in the movable safe thing to get him into the casino. And he goes and uses the metal grid that they use in the exhibit to hang the dresses from.
Yeah, like the lighting rig.
Yeah. And he basically like spider monkeys his way across the exhibit and nicks the jewels from the various mannequins while not touching the laser grid, of course, because there's a laser grid, because why wouldn't you have a laser grid? And then drops them in the water in a plastic bag to float them back to Lou, who uses the little toy submarine thing she bought earlier. Scene? Yeah, in the movie to maneuver them back to her at the edge of the moat. Yes. Okay. But what if somebody came in? Oh, somebody did. Cut to a security guard rolling up to the exhibit entrance, and Debbie in her fabulous dress just rattling off a stream of German, distracting the guards.
It's the most random stream of German ever, too. At one point, she says, my husband put his shoes in the refrigerator.
Yeah. She's like talking about her husband and how he gets confused. And he puts her shoes in the refrigerator. Yeah, so she's distracting the guards while Lou and Yen do the job. They get clear, and Debbie finally leaves with the security guards. We see Lou and Amita roll the kitchen cart that has presumably Yen and all the jewels inside of it back into the back of the catering truck. Lou gets in the front and drives away. Flashback over. Yeah.
Again, further proving that she didn't need to be all decked out at the end.
Further proving she didn't need to be all decked out. Also, she must have driven this truck somewhere and then got on the motorcycle?
Well, yeah, because in a sense, like, you have hot jewels. There is a potential they could have a bolo out. Yeah, exactly. So you got to hide it. So, yeah.
Yeah, we don't really talk about the fallout of the exhibit heist. We do the fallout of the Toussaint heist.
Yeah.
So it's like, did nobody... But maybe nobody noticed because it was still on display.
Exactly, and they had fake replicas.
Right.
So they're not going to be noticed until they come
switched them out.
Yeah, or until there's some... I don't know how often they do maintenance on exhibits.
Probably
they probably
not
just
that
leave
often.
them alone, right?
Yeah, probably not that often.
So probably not until the exhibit's done.
Most exhibits are on display for months at a time, especially something like this.
God.
So
imagine trying to like crack that case.
Right? And it's like 2-3 months later. Mm-hmm. Right. And like, how did they even get it? Like, there's no way. There's absolutely no way. And like, I don't think I talked about it, but they do a bit where they talk about how they rigged they use like a phone attached to like a giant selfie stick to play
to
back
block camera.
The cameras, the security cameras.
So how they're able, and that's part of the ingenuity of it too. Like she even says at the beginning, it only takes, what is it, 20 grand?
Yeah.
To pull it off.
7 people and 20
yeah,
grand.
and like showing how even just the most basic, like simple, like dollar selfie stick on an iPhone.
Yeah, Lou has a voiceover that's like, they sell these $20 selfie sticks on Amazon.
You don't have to always have the most sophisticated like technology and elaborate plans to pull something off.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of elaborate, but
it is.
But not technologically
but this
elaborate.
part, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Cool. She drives a truck away, flashback over. Very classic leverage move. Once again, you show the flashback later to fill in the gaps of the con and make it feel even more epic than it already was. Also, you know, an original Ocean's move, of course. And Debbie and Lou wrap up their explanation. Stealing the necklace was great, but without that diversion, we wouldn't have been able to grab these, which brings all of your cuts to $38,300,000 each. Crying, screaming, throwing up, etc. Everybody is duly shocked and happily surprised, but by far the best reaction shot is Anne Hathaway just looking absolutely flabbergasted, like she's about to drop her champagne glass on the floor.
She literally has no idea what she's gotten herself into.
No, but also she's hella rich now, and they all are,
and she's hella into it.
Yeah, she's super into it. And then we wrap up with a super cool shot of everyone on the subway. And we see clips of where everybody goes. Amita goes on a date with a guy in Paris. There may have been some kind of connection to the little Tinder scene from earlier.
Yeah, okay.
Rose opens a new storefront in New York. Tammy expands her fence business into a fence scheme into a much larger warehouse. Mm-hmm. She's got like guys working for her and stuff. Nine Ball opens like a bar, a billiard bar called Nines, and Constance gets a huge flat and starts a YouTube channel, and Daphne starts directing her own movies, and Lou rides cross country on her motorcycle because of course she does, and then of course we end on Debbie, who goes back to visit Danny's memorial, pours herself a martini, toasts him, and says, "You would have loved it." Roll credits. We did it!
Heist movie. It's awesome.
Yeah. So, what did you think?
Quick comment on the very last scene.
Yes.
With her toasting the mausoleum, Danny. Again, a nice little nod. Is he dead? Is he not?
Right.
We don't know. It's, again, the movie franchise. Is it dead? Is it not? It doesn't matter. We love it. We still love it.
Yeah. True. Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah. It's a literal toasting to what kicked off the new thing.
I like that. I like that a lot. I wonder also, now that we're talking about it, I wonder if it is a kind of acceptance that he is dead.
Yeah.
Because like the entire time, every time he's mentioned before this,
she's questioning
there's a question about it.
And this is the first time she uses past tense.
Yes.
Would have.
Exactly. You would have loved it. And like, there's no question. And she kind of delivers it in a way that's like a little sad, but
yeah, this
she
old
also
crew
smiles.
that you knew is done. They're not coming back. They're gone. It's time to move on.
Perhaps, but maybe not. You still never know. Yeah. Okay. In conclusion, I love this movie. I love the team. I love how specific everyone is to this heist. I love the high fashion, the competence porn, bringing Daphne on at the end, the job in a job in a job, because there's kind of 3 jobs.
Yeah.
The original Toussaint, the getting Claude Becker, and then the rest of the exhibit.
Yeah. And sorry, I'm like, I don't even know if this is the appropriate place to mention this. There's something that Ocean's does, and I don't know if other heist movies do this, where they're explaining the heist as the heist is unfolding. And it helps with the pacing of the movie, you know?
I think it's very well paced.
It's incredibly well paced. And it's because it's not, here's a bunch of exposition of how the heist is going to work. Here's us pulling off the heist.
Right.
It's both at the same time.
Yeah. And you get little pieces as you go along.
Yeah. And so you're in the middle of it before you even know it.
Yeah, true.
And it's,
even despite how much of this feels like setup, it's never boring setup.
No.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, the same of Ocean's 11. A lot of that movie is just set up, but it is a ton of cons along the way.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of little pieces here and there. But yeah, even with all that though, I think obviously what makes this movie work is the chemistry between everyone, especially Sandra Bullock and Cate Blanchett. And there's just a lot of subtle team dynamics happening. I mean, I didn't mention every single line of the movie and every shot, but like in basically every shot where there's a few of them in a room together, you could like pick out everyone's choices. Like if you watched it and like focused on a different person each time, you could pick out things that they're doing that are
like
informing
the acting
their character.
choices that they make.
Yeah, exactly. That's informing their character, informing the team, all, you know, that stuff. Obviously, like, everybody's in their bag in this movie. Like, come on. And and I think kind of like I mentioned before, I love the little hierarchy with Debbie and Lou at the top. Like, they're in charge, they have the plan, they have the most experience. And then Tammy and Amita, because we knew them already and we worked with them already. And then kind of everybody else, Nineball, Constance, Rose, and eventually Daphne are the new ones. Yeah. So I think it makes for interesting hierarchy, interesting character interactions. And I like that there's like a reason behind why is Tammy helping Debbie with the Claude Becker stuff? Why is Amita? Amita has the jewelry knowledge, obviously. Yeah. But she's in on the know.
Exactly. I don't know. It's just so good to see everybody bring something different to the table. Yeah. And serve a different purpose and but have it all work together so seamlessly.
Right. Which is like heist movies at its best. Yeah. That's what you want.
Everyone gets to play to their strengths and it makes everybody stronger all together.
Absolutely.
It's like watching Team Avatar.
Yeah, that's a fun parallel.
Everyone has a different skill, but like it works so well together.
Right. That's why you have a team.
Exactly.
Okay. And like we've already been talking, I think you brought up even more than I thought of, but all these great parallels to Ocean's 11, again, balancing the sequel versus the remake of it all.
I just thought of this too. Even the magnet scene is very similar to when like they blow up, they demolition one of the buildings and it cuts the power to the city. So they redo the power and they fix a hole in the power grid. Yeah. And so they have to like quick pivot and come up with something else like a day before the heist.
Yeah, I feel like that one is a little bit more high stakes.
Yeah.
But then like this little locking
but even so, like we're hitting a lot of the same beats between these two movies that if we were to compare them side by side and really reduce them down, it'd probably be the same thing on paper.
Yeah, we could probably map it out.
Minor differences.
Yep, absolutely. And like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Come on.
And again, despite all that, it's still its own property.
It's still its own thing and it feels very original. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think it's just been long enough that since we've had this.
Fresh and
it feels fresh, but it also feels like, oh my God, we're coming back, you know? So it's super fun. Yeah, Debbie and Lou, really match up to Danny and Rusty, down to one blonde and one brunette. I was reminded of Rusty Rusty played by Brad Pitt in the original. He's always eating something.
Oh my God, yeah, he is.
In the original film. And I remember hearing something about him always being on the go and like not having time to sit down and eat. Like that was a character choice that Brad Pitt made. And as a parallel here, even a subtle parallel, like Lou, we don't see Lou eating that much, but she's almost always chewing gum. Yeah. She's constantly chewing something. So kind of like a more subtle version of that quirk.
Just like a little cheeky nod.
And also like, I think one of the things about Oceans that, and I kind of said this earlier, but that made it so unique was like the cool factor. And yeah, they're just so cool. So we really kind of add that to the vibes. Yeah, the same line of like, why do you have to do this? As I mentioned earlier, but like different answers given by Danny versus Debbie that like kind of say something about their characters. Yep. And the bigger heist hidden in the smaller heist. Kind of an Ocean's thing. And our cameos from Ruben and Yen. So yeah, I think those are the basics. Yeah. And some of the other stuff we said. The outfits. God. I didn't even say half of them, to be honest.
The thing is too, is like you can't do justice to them by talking about them. No. Because you told me for years now how good the costuming was in this movie. And I'm like, yeah. No, I hear you, Amanda. It's good. I get it. And then you watch it. Yeah. And you're like, oh. I am so sorry. It's not that I didn't believe you. It's I just didn't believe hard enough in myself. and my imagination.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched a little behind the scenes video too, with the costume designer talking about Sarah Edwards.
I bet that's interesting.
Shout out. Yeah. And she didn't go super in depth, but she just basically talked about how much there was. I mean, between all of these women, and then like, obviously I think Debbie and Lou have the most costumes.
Yeah. And there's so many scenes because it takes place over like a few months?
I think, yeah, at minimum.
Yeah,
a couple
so
months.
you can't be wearing the same costume for these different scenes. You have to keep switching them out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and like the seasons are changing a little bit even.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, because it's going from, because the Met Gala is the beginning of May. So it's going from winter to spring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Should we talk about a potential sequel?
Before we do that, because I'm assuming, is that the last?
That's the last thing.
Okay. There's one more thing I want to bring up.
Okay.
Which is something that Ocean's 11 I think did really well that Ocean's 8 failed at.
Okay. Yeah. I might bring it up in this, but go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, I think because you kind of alluded to it, so I think we're kind of on the same page here about this. So there's a part of Ocean's 11 in the middle of the heist when you're like, oh shit, they got caught.
Right.
And like Danny is being taken in the bag. He's getting the shit beat out of him.
Yeah.
Like you think it's all over.
Yeah.
And it's because it's the whole thing is cat and mouse. It's power dynamic. Is it Danny that's in charge, or is it the guy that runs the Bellagio? Who knows more? Who's in control?
Right. Right.
And so that like where it raises the stakes, it makes you as the audience believe, fuck.
Right.
And then
like there's no way out of this, but then there is.
And then it shows the hand and oh no, this was also a part of the heist.
Yes.
And it just, there's something so satisfying about it, but also because you're raising the stakes at that moment of like, oh no, they failed.
Yeah.
There's something more impactful about it than when like they actually get it over.
Yes.
On the people they're conning.
Yep.
And this is just pretty much everything more or less goes off seamlessly with a few hiccups that they can pivot around pretty seamlessly.
Right.
There's never a moment where you think they're not in control of the situation.
Yep. You are touching right on things I want to see in a sequel.
All right. So let's get into that bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So now that we've covered the movie and how great it is, we got to talk about the elephant in the room, which is that this movie is called Ocean's 8. And they clearly left room for an Ocean's 9 and an Ocean's 10 to lead up to the numerical order of Oceans 11, 12, 13. We have room for not just a sequel, but a trilogy here.
Yeah.
So come with me for a minute
on
a fantasy journey experience, and let's talk about a potential sequel and maybe a potential trilogy for this franchise. Any ideas you're dying to share off the cuff?
No, I misunderstood the assignment. No, that's not true. The thing is, I don't watch as much like heist and con stuff as you.
Oh, okay. I know more.
Yeah, because when I watch these, the fun for me is I could never think of this stuff.
Sure. No, I can't either, to be clear. I just have some like sort of broad strokes I want to see.
Yeah, because
I don't have a full plot. Oh my God, no.
Okay, yeah, because no, for me, the only kind of heists that come to mind are ones that failed and I think are hilarious, and that doesn't make a good movie. So,
you know, I'm speaking as someone who has seen like 70 episodes of Leverage.
Yeah. So you inform me as a layman because I'm excited.
Yeah. Okay. I don't have a full pitch, but there's some stuff I want in a sequel. So, number one, I think we need a bad guy. We need somebody for them to go after. I want them to go after some scumbag.
Yeah.
True Leverage style. Like, go for some absolutely shitty human dude.
Yeah, because even in Ocean's 11, you spend enough time, and I keep saying the owner of the Bellagio because I'm bad at names.
Yeah, I forgot
you spend
his name
enough
too.
time with him to despise him.
Yeah.
And realize, like, he's a little shady,
He's a dick.
too.
Yeah. Also, like, for this crew, like, what's their motivation otherwise?
Right.
They've done the thing already. They pulled off the heist. They're freaking rich.
Right.
If they're investing their money right, and you know they are, they're never running out. Like, they don't have to do anything.
So why keep committing crime?
So why come back
putting
together?
yourself at risk of going into jail?
Exactly. And why come back together and why do anything else?
Yeah.
So they all need a reason to come together and pull off another con. And that reason could be taking some asshole down.
Yeah. I almost kind of like it if that asshole, like, if it was like personal to one specific person, right?
Yeah.
Like they piss off Daphne, and the whole rest of the crew is like, nah, fuck that guy. We got your back, girl.
You're reading my fucking mind.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Let's do it. Yeah. Well, first of all, it's a man because I want them to take down the
I
absolute.
thought that was a given.
Yeah,
Did we have to say that out loud?
The absolute worst guy for reasons. It's wish fulfillment. Okay. From there, I don't know. But we have some options. So I literally wrote down, I like the idea of digging into some of the history here.
Yeah.
So that's, well, this is a little bit different from what you were saying, but that's the second thing I really want from a sequel. So maybe the bad guy is someone that Debbie and Lou conned in the past.
Oh.
And that person's coming back and is like out to get them now.
Okay.
Or, either one of them individually. Debbie makes the most sense, but whatever. I just really need more backstory on them. Like, give me all of the juicy details about whatever they've been getting up to for, pre-jail Debbie Ocean.
Sure. Personally, I like if some of that stuff stays a little more ambiguous because I think it's fun.
I think you can still have both, though.
Headcanon. Yeah, I think a fun way to do it, too, is what it referenced, like, Sarah Paulson's character. Didn't it reference, like, trucks or something?
Yeah, moving stolen dishwashers from Canada.
Yeah. So, like, if they could reference that by, like, including some of the skills in that within, the heist itself. So, like, if there's
maybe it's more of that.
Yeah, like, more previous heists that we haven't heard about yet where they're like, all right, remember this heist? Yeah, okay, we got to do that again.
Yeah. Well, and again, it's like anyone who has history in the group we could pull from. So maybe it's Tammy. Yeah. Maybe it's she, stole some good, is moving goods for somebody real shady.
Right. And it doesn't have to be a huge, elaborate, we're going to have a flashback and you're going to know everything that happened. Sure. But just a little more nuggets.
I wouldn't be mad about that either. You could. The reason that could be fun is then you could cast younger actresses to play past versions of them. And I think that could be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Depending on who you could find.
Yeah.
But, I see where you're
coming from. Me, it's kind of like the monster in the horror movie where as soon as you see it, it's not scary.
Sure.
So, like, the backstory, as soon as you see it, it's no longer intriguing.
Yeah.
I kind of like the mystery of it.
Well, then I think that also then ties into, so, like, if it's Debbie and Lou you're going with, that also then ties into, are we going to do anything else with them with their relationship? So if you're going to go into some bad guy is after them, and then also we use that as an opportunity to tell their whole backstory, relationship, whatever happened with them, it's kind of a twofer. But then that's tricky, right? Because you have to include everyone from Ocean's 8. And the strength of this movie is that everyone is so specific to the heist, right? But then that makes things kind of a challenge for a sequel.
It does.
Because now you have people that are like kind of out of place in like your more average con, I guess.
Right, because they're pulling like Rose. They grab Rose because she's fashion and they're doing a fashion heist.
Right. Well, and ostensibly also you have two people who are famous, like not under the radar at all. That'd be Rose and Daphne.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So like if they're still on the crew, how can we use them in a way that utilizes their fame?
Yeah,
probably?
and I mean, I think that would be fun to see, though.
Yeah, so that's my other pitch is like, it's Daphne that instigates it, as you said.
Yes.
And she like, let's say she wants to direct a movie and some asshole executive is in her way. Mm-hmm. And she digs up some dirt on him and finds out, oh, he's a real asshole. He's a real scumbag. We got to take this guy down. Mm-hmm. Also, I want to get my movie made. So it's a little meta that way, I guess, because now we're in the Hollywood space, but it could be fun. And then, she's the one who kind of gets everyone together. That also plays into her kind of character trait of like, I want female friends.
Yes.
And like, she wants to get, like, everyone's out there doing their own thing, but she's like, no, I want
this was fun. Let's come back together.
Yeah, let's do it again. I was only in for 5 minutes for the last one. So that could be fun. So that's definitely more of a fun.
Being the instigator.
Yeah. I think that could, well, and like, like I said, otherwise I don't know how you would have them in it.
Yeah. And I think you can still, there would be a way to play it where Daphne is the instigator, but Lou and like Debbie
are
still in charge. And could still have a personal stake in it. Like if it's someone that they had a personal history with, but it's still Daphne that's instigating it. And it's just one of those like, oh yeah, we know him.
Oh, me? Oh.
Yeah, so that way they can still be the power dynamic that they are running the heist, even though Daphne instigated it.
Yeah. Yeah. And like maybe in that case you take it bigger. I don't know. There's many possibilities for the bad guy.
Yeah. And I think too, like it's fun because Daphne is incredibly perceptive.
Yeah.
Like it would be really fun for her to like pick up on something shady going on that other people aren't seeing.
Ooh, true.
And thus like motivating her even further to investigate.
Also, I want to see her like full grifter mode.
Yeah.
I want to see her go full Sophie Devereaux. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that should be great. And I think Anne Hathaway would be great.
And she's great in pretty much. No, she is great in everything. I can't think of a bad thing she's done.
Can't either. Yeah. So let's see. Bad guy. Yep. Yeah. Daph like roping all the girls into this plan. But then, you know, Debbie and Lou be like, all right, like we'll make the plan. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then like everybody. Yeah. And then maybe like at first they all are getting roped in, right? But as we go along, we just find more and more reasons to hate this guy.
Right.
And like everyone just gets personally invested then.
Like, oh God, this is so random. But even if it started off as like a group chat and they're like, oh my God, yeah, we should do another heist. Wouldn't that be fun? And be like, no, yeah, it'd be so much fun. We're not going to do that.
Or like Debbie's taught them all to speak in code.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it's like a coded message and it like doesn't make sense to us. But then we figure it out along the way. But then kind of like what we talked about before, I want there also to be more risk to them personally. So I don't know if that comes with like let's say in this hypothetical, you know, we're taking down a Hollywood exec situation, asshole guy. Is the Hollywood exec guy tied to some bigger nefarious plot? Like he's, oh shit, we find out he's involved in like organized crime or something.
Yeah.
And he's the low man on the totem pole in that situation. But then now we're in like this whole other thing. And like maybe we only find out about that like halfway through. And that kind of throws everybody off their game. And they're all like, oh shit, should we back off? But then, you know, we find a way to make that happen.
Yeah. I think
I want a little danger. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And even if it's a fake out, like I said, like when Danny's getting beat up in the back room and it's really just his friend, right? Like even if there was a scene where you're like, oh shit, they got and Deb ends up back in prison. Oh. And you'd have this like whole fuck moment only to realize, no, her being in prison was part of the heist. Like if there was something involved.
And then is the third movie them breaking her out of prison? Oh my God.
We wrote the trilogy. It'll be completed, and I should say.
Yeah.
Hollywood, hire us. You're welcome.
That's actually kind of Leverage season 2 finale going into season 3's
opener. Well, you know what? If it works, it works.
If it works, it works. Yeah.
If it ain't broke.
But yeah, I want a little more danger, a little more action-y action, maybe, potentially. Yeah, I want to see them take on a real challenge and like make up some shit along the way and still
like
do
have
the plan.
To like be on their improvise.
Yeah, a little more improv.
Yeah.
A little more improv. Yeah, like the thing of like these people are the best, so how do we trip them up? How do we, you know, make it so that they have to think on their feet? And that goes back to kind of our problem with Debbie's character in this movie, which is not enough vulnerability. So I think that gives us an opportunity to throw her off her game a little bit more and give her a little bit more vulnerability, a little, you know, more chinks in the armor, like, and either someone else on the team has to maybe step up and like save them. Maybe it's Lou, maybe it's Tammy, whoever, or maybe the whole team like ends up coming together and like teamwork and friendship is what saves the day.
All right.
So then it's not like, because her thing is like she's a control freak, right?
Right.
So she thinks she has to plan out everything. And
right.
She thinks
and that
she
would
has
be
to be the one to fix it.
Moment of like character growth. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like maybe you don't have to do this all by yourself.
I love that.
Yeah. Women supporting women. But yeah, I want there to be like a moment where something happens to somebody and like she freaks out a little bit. Like I want to see her lose it a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Lose her composure.
And we freak out because she's freaking out.
Exactly.
Yeah. So then of course our big question is, Who's our 9th?
Yes. Okay. I was hoping you were going to ask this.
Who's our add-on? Who's the role? Do you have any idea?
I do have an idea.
Okay.
So it's going to be Deb's little sister. So another ocean. Another ocean.
Another ocean.
A crime family. It's an ocean who hasn't been caught yet.
Oh.
And I want it to be Emma Roberts. I feel like she could fit in with this group. She's worked with Sarah Paulson in the past on American Horror Story. In a couple of, because American Horror Story, each season they change the like it's the same cast, but they play different characters. So her and Sarah Paulson were in that together.
Did you watch that?
And their chemistry is great. I forget up through which season. Maybe through Lady Gaga season.
You know what? I'm looking at Emma Roberts' face now, and I feel like I could maybe believe that she's related to Sandra Bullock.
Who is she related to? Because she is
anyone
related
in particular?
to...
I don't know. She's definitely much younger. She's only 33. So maybe it's like her baby sister. Maybe it's her half sister.
There we go. That could work.
Her dad, like they share the same dad. And then is there drama between them because of that?
Julia Roberts is her aunt. That's what it is. Yeah, so that's another reason why I think she'd be a great fit.
Wait.
Yeah, I knew she was related to someone that would connect back to. Yep,
okay, because
that was it.
I have would you bring Julia Roberts into this at all? Would you try to bring Tess Ocean into this at all? No? Maybe. Okay, all right. I can concede. Redemption for her character.
Because in Ocean's 11, she's just a fucking
She
trophy.
ain't got nothing to do.
Yes.
Let's give her something to do.
All right, I'm on board with that.
Okay.
And then fucking Emma Roberts. Let's get her in here too, because I just love her. She's a great actress.
Yeah,
and again, I think she could fit the chemistry of this crew.
Interesting. I feel like I haven't seen her in a lot of stuff, but
she does more, like I saw her in a couple of more like not B movies, but sort of experimental, not necessarily mainstream Hollywood stuff. Mm-hmm. She's good. She's so versatile.
Okay, cool. I'm into it. I don't have a lot of like casting ideas, actress ideas, but I have some role ideas.
All right, hit me.
Obviously, sky's the limit, but I do wonder if we need more of a true grifter on the team. Mm-hmm. And like again, like a la Sophie Devereaux, like someone at that level. Like, but I feel like Anne Hathaway could fill that role.
Who are you referencing?
Leverage.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, because like I said earlier, like everyone can kind of grift on the team, but I don't know that we have like a true transformer type of character on our hands. And Daphne could do it, but she's famous. Mm-hmm. So she can't pretend to be other people in real life.
Right.
Because people know who she is.
Exactly. So even though that could still be within her wheelhouse and her skill set, she has a massive like knock against her.
Exactly. Yeah. Uh-huh. She would kill it probably.
Yeah.
But
so it's definitely a skill she could still use. Actually, that could be the roadblock. Is they're like, oh, we can have Daphne do this con, and then she gets recognized immediately, and they'd be like, oh,
I think that's too easy. They would know.
No, but it start early, right? Like, hey, Daphne, we just
maybe
need
Daphne
you to
tries it on her own.
Yeah, we just need you to do this small little thing, like quick little con, right? And like doesn't work, and they're like, all right, fuck,
like they try to
pivot.
They try to disguise her and stuff. But
yeah,
it doesn't
something.
work.
Yeah,
and she has to play it off. Okay,
because even though she could, again, it could be her skill.
Yeah,
but it doesn't work in this case.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's one possibility. Another possibility is we could go with like a hitter type character. So like in Leverage speak, that would be Elliot.
Oh.
Like somebody badass. Somebody who can unleash a can of whoop ass.
Yeah. Elliot was Batman to me, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cowboy Batman.
Cowboy Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, somebody who could be useful in like a fighting/defense capacity.
All right. Yeah.
If we get into some more high stakes, shady stuff.
Sure. Now, counter to that, part of what I like about, I literally don't know how to phrase this. I'm stumbling my way through this so hard.
Just talk it out.
Okay. So like in a lot of these macho movies, violence is baked into it just because machismo, right? Like, and people love violence. It's great. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's expedient as far as getting your way. It works.
Yeah.
I love it. It's fine. But I also really love when like you get the woman perspective in there, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the woman perspective, which is why I'm saying it's not necessarily a feminist critique, but a new perspective in there that says we can find a way to do this without the violence.
Right. How can we do it without resorting to that?
Realizing that like, hey, this is going to be a weakness for us, so we have to find a way around it.
For sure. Yeah. I guess I like that. And I like that the idea that the team doesn't want to have this person.
Yeah.
But they find themselves in over their head.
Okay.
And then, oh shit, we got to find somebody who can help us take care of the situation. And it's not any of us.
Yeah.
Like, none of us have those skills. So who do we find? I think it also brings an opportunity to bring someone onto the team that is just extremely different.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the person who comes to mind, what's her name? I got to look her up. I mean, she's very typecast in this role. Michelle Rodriguez.
I need picture?
Yep.
You know, names and me no good.
Fast and Furious.
Oh.
Also,
yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And also she's Latina. We don't have any Latina rep on the team. And she's very different.
Yeah.
From all of them. So, yeah. And like, I feel like she's a good actress, but she tends to kind of play the same type of like female badass character. Like, kind of straightforward, kind of blunt, kind of like not macho, but
yeah,
like she's gonna beat up some folks.
I was gonna say like masculine energy, if you will.
Masculine energy a little bit again, which I think would be an interesting contrast.
It would be a really interesting thing to add to the dynamic.
Yeah, to bring into the team without it being a man.
Yeah.
So there's an idea. That's an idea. And again, like, I think you're right. You'd have to play it in a way that we're not turning this into an action movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like maybe there's a section, you know,
right,
where we get to do some of that. And maybe she has like a unique style that's not, you know, I don't know, that's like more precision or something.
Like jujitsu, where it's like you're not necessarily the one throwing the punch. You're using the punch
redirecting
from the other person.
their energy.
That's the word.
Yeah, to take them out. Yeah, exactly. So that could be interesting. And I think that would give us an interesting place to bring a character like that into the movie as well. Like, that's like a second or third act pull.
Okay.
Like, that's not someone we're introducing off the bat. So then the whole time you're watching the movie and you're like, when's the ninth person gonna come?
Because same thing with this movie. It's Ocean's 8, but we only have 7.
We only have 7. But you, like, on the first watch, I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
I wasn't counting until
you
later.
Pay attention now, though.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, kind of the same move. Like, where's the last person going to come from? Or another idea I had is we could also do with someone like Yen, who is like got the acrobatic skills, the more like thievery skills, you know, kind of a Parker-esque true thief person. Somebody crawling through the vents.
Like a unique talent.
A unique
like
talent.
A hyper-specific unique talent.
Exactly. But yeah, that depends on like, are we stealing something that's like more high tech or like requires more of that skill set?
Yeah.
You know, it depends on whatever the goal is. And then we'd have to bring on another person anyway for Ocean's 10. But yeah, I like your idea as well. So that's your one casting idea?
Yeah, that's my dream cast. I'm not moving off of that. I'm sorry.
I never considered the idea of another Ocean. Another like Ocean sister.
I think it'd be fun.
Yeah.
Talking about a whole crime family.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I hear rumors that...
I'm like, oh, you could add so much of an extra layer of family drama to that then, too.
Mm-hmm. Oh. I've heard rumors that they're doing a prequel. Let me look this up right now. Ocean's prequel, possibly with Margot Robbie. Ocean's prequel.
All right.
Oh, it's happening.
It is.
Yeah, and guess who? Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling, no less, are Barbie and Ken playing, I think they're parents. Will reunite for the prequel to 2001's Ocean's 11. Wow, that's a mouthful. Oh, currently untitled Ocean's 11 prequel. Okay, so we don't know. I guess maybe it's
pretty much the only detail we have.
Just that they're in it. And I mean, there's speculation that they're going to be playing the parents, Danny and Debbie's parents. So the OG Oceans, basically. Yeah. Presumably how they start conning or how they, like, I don't know, the job that makes them a famous con family. I don't know.
The one that gets the dad caught, right? By the insurance investigator?
At least once. Yeah. So, yeah, given the star power, expensive budget, and cinematic locations of the Ocean's 11 prequel, we can expect this film spectacle to release in theaters worldwide. Blah, blah, blah.
Okay, so nothing we don't already know.
Yeah, not much to go on, but it's happening.
Cool.
And they are signed.
Sweet. So
that would be
Hollywood is invested in continuing the Oceans franchise.
In one way or another.
Yeah. So Hollywood, hire us for Oceans 9.
Yeah.
Or 10. Or both.
But yeah, that's basically what I want. I want him to take down a bad guy. I want some high stakes, a little more improv, a little more stuff to go around and have them figure out what to do about it.
Yeah.
And a little more backstory.
Yeah.
On Debbie and Lou especially. And maybe Tammy.
I like Tammy. I see myself in her.
Do you? The suburban mom? Really?
Yeah. Who's trying to be all uptight and be like, I got it all under control. I'm totally normal. I swear to God.
Massive fence business.
Yeah, under the surface.
Okay, what do I have anything else? I have one more thing. Let's touch on would you / should you do the Debbie and Lou romance? What's your thought? To go, like, if you're going into a sequel, possibly going into a trilogy, would you make that a thing? The fans want it, let me tell you. The people want it.
I believe that. I mean, because there's so much, like, negging going on there. Not just between the two of them, but towards the fans.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
Like, just all the flirtation. Because it's not queer baiting.
No.
What they're doing.
They're just flirty.
They're just flirty. That's their relationship that they have. I guess I am not bothered either way. Okay. I'm very ambiguous to this. You probably know why. Like, I like when relationships are just undefined but intimate. When, like, it's not necessarily sexual, but you can still be incredibly intimate with someone without the sexual element. I like that.
Yep.
But at the same time, if they do have a romance, I'm fully on board.
Yeah. I mean, I have like a whole backstory in my head for them.
All right, let's hear it. Come on.
I mean, I'm actually with you on that. Like, I could go either way.
Yeah.
I think. And I actually think potentially it works better if you don't.
I mean, like, I like how it plays in this movie.
Yeah.
It's a formula that works. I could see it just becoming cumbersome.
Yes.
Or, like, taking over the plot.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to be careful with that.
Yeah.
There's a way to do it. And, like, you know, they're already at the core of the team. Our emotional investment is basically in them. We can build up the characters a little bit more in the sequel to have more emotional connection to each of them. But I like the friendship too. And I feel, here's where I get stuck. I feel like based on Ocean's 8 and the stuff we see with them, I feel like they already kind of have a romantic history.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it seems like it.
Well, yeah. And like to me, the subtext is at some point we were together or like romantically something or other. And at some point we either decided not to be together for the friendship, for the partnership, whatever.
Right. Like we're better friends than lovers.
Yes. Or probably Debbie decided to not take that risk.
Because she can't be close to anybody.
Because she's a little bit of a stonewaller.
Yeah.
And a control freak.
And has trust issues.
Has trust issues and is secretly scared as all hell to jump down that rabbit hole. Like, because we had the whole thing of like, they were broken up for a while. Then Debbie went with Claude Becker and then she was in prison for 5 years. And like, now they're back together doing this thing. But like, what are we now sort of thing? So then, like, if you're going to move forward with it, then the question is why? Why now?
Right.
Like, why after all this time? We've clearly known each other for a bajillion years. Why have we not done this before? You'd have to go into some stuff.
Yeah. You would have to get into background and history if you were to explore that. You know what their dynamic reminds me of? I was thinking about this as you were talking. Have you seen Hot Fuzz?
I haven't.
Okay, that is going to be a bonus episode at some point because I could talk for hours about Hot Fuzz.
Cinema Therapy just did an episode on Hot Fuzz.
I know.
Are you so
can't
excited?
wait to watch it. It is to me a perfect movie, start to finish. There is not a wasted scene or a wasted line. That is besides the point because we will talk about that one day. Originally, when the movie was written, so they had Nick Frost's character who was like the already established cop in town. And then they have
Simon Pegg.
Thank you. Oh my God.
I had to fill that. Oh man. Well, it's late. It's getting late.
It's late. We've been doing this for 3.5 hours.
Oh man.
And Simon Pegg's character, who's the cop from out of town who comes in. Now, originally they had a third character who was going to be the female romantic interest, but they realized she didn't really serve the plot. So they got rid of her, but they kept all of her dialogue and gave it to Nick Frost.
Oh.
So the dynamic between Simon Pegg and Nick Frost is this like weird,
slightly weird romantic stuff.
Thing, but they're really just buddies.
Right.
And like best friends. But yeah, the way that it's played and written, like you can tell like, oh yeah, this would have worked just as well with like a romantic female.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's kind of how they feel. Where it is intentional. They intentionally wrote it this way for these two characters, but it's that kind of dynamic vibe.
Like there could be something here, but
yeah, you could swap it out with a romantic person. Yeah, romantic interest, and it would work just the same.
I feel like the other way you do it is we just roll into the sequel and they're together.
Yeah, and
we don't talk about it.
Don't even mention it.
Yeah. It's just like it's just there in the background. Yeah,
I can work that too.
And everybody else also rolls with it.
Yeah,
that'd be fun. So. I don't know. I have ideas. I might expand on that in a Tumblr post. We'll see. You can follow us at the Show Off Pod on Tumblr. But yeah, either way, lots of potential for a sequel and a trilogy here. And I hope they get their shit together and figure out a way to make it happen. Because come on.
Yeah.
It's right there. And we know they make money off these, so come on.
Right.
But
it's such a gimme.
Yeah, seriously. So yeah, that is all the tea I have on Ocean's 8. Tell us your thoughts in the comments on YouTube. Please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, or you can email us at theshowoffpod@gmail.com.
Yeah, we love talking about this stuff. Please
talk with us. We would love to hear your thoughts.
Please.
Do you love the Ocean's movies? Do you love Ocean's 8? Who would you add to the cast in Ocean's 9 and 10?
I really want to know what people's fan casting is.
Yes, give me your fan cast. I haven't looked it up, but I haven't seen much chatter about it on the interwebs, so
let's start the chatter.
We have 2 slots available, people. We have 2 potential movies here, so you have 2 choices. Give us your fan casts. We'd love to hear about it. And yeah, thanks for sticking around, and look forward to our final episode.
You got 3 minutes to introduce the final episode
of this first season,
because then my alarm's going off and we're done.
Okay. Look forward to our final episode of the first season of The Show Off, which is going to be our season superlatives.
Woo!
Yay! That's right. We're ranking and picking our faves of the season in various different categories, and they may or may not get more unhinged as we go. So,
who's doing the unhinging?
So make sure to subscribe and or follow us on your podcast app of choice, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye!
Bye, y'all! Thanks for listening to this episode of The Show Off. If you enjoyed this one, go ahead and leave us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcast. And give us your review of our episode pick for this week's pod. You can also email us at theshowoffpod@gmail.com. See you all next week.